Greetings, members, one and all of the Salivation Nation. This is the night we've been waiting for. The election results will be coming in, or already have started coming in, over at several different news sources. We're only going to be sourcing three different news sources. One is surprising considering my political leanings, which I'm not shy about sharing here. Most of you know. However, we have some states that have just closed. Breaking news. And as expected, no surprises tonight. Maryland goes for Harris. Connecticut goes for Harris. Projected Massachusetts goes for Harris. Vermont was called earlier. And all of these red states here are indeed still red, including Oklahoma, Indiana, West Virginia, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, South Carolina, and yes, Florida for Trump. This happened early on here. This is a good news, well, depending on your point of view. But indeed, that is the case here with some of these results. In Oklahoma. And we're tracking the New York Times because they have stuff that comes in very, very quickly. And I like how they have the map so we can really get into the nitty-gritty of this. Some of these others are showing some of the percentages come in, with Georgia too close to call with 35% reporting, Ohio too close to call. But before we get in too much of that, and I appreciate everybody being here tonight with me here, we're going to get into what the metals complex is doing too. We're going to follow along here, and so far they are down dramatically here of the open. This is interesting. Silver's down over 1% now, well into trading as these results pour in. Silver's down 34 cents, below the resistance of $32.50. We're not going to track these metals too much tonight, but we will dip back in from time to time. Silver is down the most tonight, and gold is down slightly. It's down $9.70. But so the Asian markets and the world is watching what's going on here in the United States. So this is why these markets are reacting. This is solely because of these results. And maybe they're thinking, I don't know, I haven't checked the betting odds. I'm purposely have not really been relying too much on that because I think they can be somewhat deceptive, and they've really shifted in recent times. But here we're going to try to look and see what's happening and follow these things through as these results pour in here. But so far, no surprises at all. All these states, except for maybe Florida, called early on here. And this is pretty amazing. And by the way, they are very quick to count these votes in Florida. 85% of the votes are in. That is mind-blowing. If Florida can do it, and they are a heavily populated state, there is no excuse why other states like Arizona can't do it, and really why Pennsylvania can't do it. Pennsylvania has really one huge city in a metroplex area here in the east, but we're going to look at Pennsylvania right now, and of course this is before some of these results come in, trending blue in Allegheny County, which is no surprise, but the county we're going to really want to watch here is Erie. Erie County has been a bellwether county, I think, in the last 2 or 3 presidential elections. Where Erie County goes, so goes the whole state. Pennsylvania is sort of like a very small microcosm of the whole United States, with a lot of urban areas as well as rural areas as well. But metropolitan areas, huge metropolitan area with Philadelphia. You've got working class places like Allentown and, of course, Pittsburgh. Very different, even though it tends to vote Democrat here. Very, very different city than Philadelphia. No question about it. So Pennsylvania is going to be very interesting to watch. It is a swing state, and it could go either way in Pennsylvania. And this is the prize to get for tonight. Essentially, if Trump doesn't get this state, he's going to have to pretty much win every other state. And look at that. First results are coming in now in Michigan. So we're going to go back over here and take a look and zoom back out in our map and take a look at Michigan. Starting to see some results come in here, although those polls have just closed. And so no number showing up there yet. But so far, this is where we stand now. 95 projected electoral votes to Donald Trump, 35 to Kamala Harris. The night is still young. Likely we're not going to know anything by the time this live stream is over, but we'll see what happens. We could be pleasantly surprised, or on the other side, we could be unpleasantly surprised as well. I appreciate each and every one of you for joining me here tonight. We're looking at the president mostly tonight, but we're going to pause here, and I'm going to show you the two other sources I'm looking at. CNN. I do like to look at CNN as well to get an idea what the other side is showing here. We're not going to look at the video and see what they're saying there unless something major breaks, and we'll look at that. But nonetheless, they do have it playing here, but we're going to basically kind of look and see what we've got here as other states come in. We can see that they have projected CNN that Trump will win Missouri. So that just came in. And let's take a look also at Fox News. We can see here that Fox News projects Pennsylvania becomes latest battleground state, too early to call, in addition to North Carolina and Georgia. So kind of no surprise, those swing states are indeed called that for a reason. They're going to be too early to call probably for most of the night here. Appreciate you guys joining me here as we continue to watch some of these numbers pile up here. Trump with 105 out of 270 needed. A long road to 270 ahead as the night continues here. We're going to take a look at the Senate here as well. The Senate is also a very important thing. They are calling justice for a one pickup for the Republicans to win. That really was not too much of a surprise. Jim Justice, popular Democratic governor of West Virginia, recently turned Republican as governor and now will be the Republican senator from West Virginia to replace Joe Manchin. We just got this in from Zardos. Zardos gifted 20 Salivate Metal memberships across the bow. Thank you, Zardos. Very kind of you indeed. If you received a gift from Zardos, a channel gift membership, give him a warm thank you, Zardos. You are the man. Thank you so much. A good crowd joining us here so far tonight. I appreciate you guys being here. If you would be so kind as to press the thumbs up button. This is a unique broadcast because we're going to be checking the markets here tonight. We're checking the precious metals markets as well. We're going to dip in and out of that. But let's take a look here at what CNN is showing us here for the presidential and what they're projecting for a win here. Again, they're showing this is a change here. That the seat has flipped to Republican, and we're watching that. And of course, the senator from Vermont is obviously going to maintain his seat. That is Bernie Sanders. He is the Democratic Socialist, not a Democrat though. That's why that is showing purple there. And let's take a look here, a little bit more of an idea of the Senate here we're looking at. We can see this is the flipper here. And Jim Justice has won that seat. And we can see here that the New Jersey, Andy Kim, will win this seat, this New Jersey seat there. And we see Bernie Sanders again winning there. No surprises amongst all of these. Rick Scott was under threat here. It was a chance. This was one that he was kind of sweating bullets here, but they have projected that indeed Rick Scott will maintain his seat in the Senate. So far, a pickup of 1 for the Republicans here. 27% reporting in Virginia. This is another race that was watched, although it was thought that Timothy Kaine would maintain his seat, and it looks like he is going to do just that tonight, which is unfortunate, but it is the way to go. This is another one to watch, and so far, Bob Casey is blowing out Dave McCormick, but the votes are very, very, very early on. Only 4% are reporting right now. House seats here, we're not going to look at these quite as much. There's a lot happening here. We'll just look for any kind of flipping that is going on here. We have some projected winners, but I think most of all of these are incumbents. We do not see anything here that will lead us to any indication of any change so far. So we'll watch that fairly closely here. But the president is obviously the one we're watching the closest here tonight, and we can see here this is where things stand right now. Virginia, there was a chance that maybe Donald Trump might be able to take Virginia, and this looks like it's running fairly close here. We'll get in as these numbers pick up a little bit and they become too early to call. We're going to really take a deeper dive in here and see what happens here. Nebraska is going to be very interesting to watch because it has, I believe that's the state that has one of the electoral votes around the Lincoln area that very well may flip. We don't know. We'll find out what one could make or break it. And here Texas is another one where results are starting to come in as well. we'll keep an eye on that. But I'm amazed at Florida now. We're seeing 89% of the votes in already, 89% this early. And Donald Trump is blowing that state out. It's pretty amazing. 56 to 43 so far. I have yet to take a slurp of my coffee. I'm going to do that now. And if you would be so kind to press the thumbs up button, we're going to try to get, see if we can get more people to swing in here and let the algorithm move its way. I've got to be careful with some of the things I say tonight for obvious reasons, but nonetheless, we're keeping an eye on these things. But let's take a look at the metals complex now, because they are moving, folks. Right now, silver is pulling back for some of the losses we saw earlier as we started broadcasting here tonight. It is down 26 cents right now to $32.46, trying its best to go right back up to resistance, or right up to support rather, at $32.50. It was down earlier, more than that earlier, $32.23. It's now trying to get back up there. Gold is down $6.90. My guess is maybe the Asian markets are thinking, what's going on over here? Maybe it's a Shanghai opening up here. I think they open up at 8 or maybe 9. I'm not sure, but there it is. And I do have an in-chat poll here tonight. And so far, 90% of you out of 124 that have voted think that Trump is going to pull this out. I got to tell you, I hope you're right. I hope you're right. And we'll see. We're going to keep an eye on this tonight and see what happens. But so far, no surprises anywhere on the map. Absolutely no surprises yet. But that's what we expect right out so far. But as you can see here, the New York Times is saying that Donald Trump has 95, although CNN is saying that Donald Trump here, let's see here, has what it doesn't show what it's got the, it's not showing anything of what the numbers are here. I don't see the numbers. Oh, here it is, 90 to 27. Okay, so they're not awarding 95 yet here. Fox News is awarding 105 to Trump here. So 3 different news agencies reporting 3 different numbers, projections here. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Now, this thing here on CNN is saying that North Carolina voters expected to cast more provisional ballots than in the 2020 election. That means that some of these people are probably registering on site, and that provisional ballots will need to be critiqued. And if that's the case, if a lot of people do that, that could muck up the results, and we may not find out for a long time as they get vetted. And that actually does, in a sense, I don't like the idea of same-day registration anyway. I think they should do away with that for this very reason, because there's more chances of what happening, and you know what I'm talking about. Michael Guadagno, thank you so much. I appreciate it. The books could be cooked, and that's what we'll say. The chefs at the Cook the Books Club have maybe spawned out into some of these counting locations. Remember, it's he who counts the votes. I'll leave it at that. They're counting the votes right now, these provisional ballots. This is a little concerning right here to me. Harris campaign bracing for a weeks-long election litigation. Oh, my goodness gracious. Some of these things here coming in. Pennsylvania voters say abortion should be legal in most or all cases. So these are the things we're watching here. But again, we're going back over here. As much as I'm not a big fan of the New York Times, I do kind of like how they do express results here. They're kind of in the middle between CNN and Fox News in terms of awarding winners and things like that. But we can see Georgia here. Let's get in, as Georgia is starting to populate some of these counties here. We can see here indeed that we're watching Atlanta. And when we click in here closer, we are at DeKalb, Fulton County. Fulton County is sort of ground zero for what happened last time. Fulton County, as you can see here, it spans a long way through here. It is the county that holds Atlanta. 57% of the votes are in. 71% Kamala Harris to 28% for Donald Trump. No surprise there, obviously. But over half the votes have been counted here, which is, in a sense, is a little bit surprising to me that many have been counted here. 81% in Douglas County. which obviously leans heavy. It's a metropolitan county here. DeKalb County, nothing in yet there is another one. And then Clayton County as well, 85-14 with 74%. So these are coming in here. Rockdale County, and we can see some of these other locations here. As we kind of pan around here, we can see the other areas here are leaning more towards Trump. But these other counties that have Trump as the winner, as the leaning Trump, these are very, very small populist counties, population. So Augusta is another one that is Richmond County. That one was 64% of the vote. Not surprising. That's a pretty large area. And of course, navigating this map is not the easiest thing as far as it wants to stick on me here. So let's see. So that's where that is. Here we go. Atlanta, Savannah as well. A little bit surprising. Savannah, I guess, is just a big enough city. Liberty County, I'm kind of surprised at that, but yeah, they're leaning heavily towards Kamala Harris here. I don't know how they did in 2020, but yeah, there was 11,000 votes between them for this whole state. I think Macon was where Trump had his second or one of his rallies here recently. So far, only 2% of the votes are in there. Too early to tell here in Bibb County where Macon, Georgia is. Athens as well, nothing there yet. And here's another small county, a relatively small county, leaning heavily towards Kamala Harris. So that's 52% of the vote. So I can see why Georgia is too close to call now. It's crazy. Columbia County, though, is leaning pretty heavy for Donald Trump. So it's hit or miss here. It's really going to be hard to say. And this one here with 80% of the vote is Cherokee County. That's got 87,000 votes for Trump here compared to 37. Atlanta, 214,000 to 84,000. So it's this is going to be a nail biter for Georgia, I think. And again, as we zoom out here, we can see that. Again, it does not like when 44% of the entire state has reported so far. Still too close to call. Ohio, 36% and still too close to call. Kamala Harris is ahead with 36% of the vote. This one was leaning more towards Trump. So this one may be in play. I'm not sure. And also, we've got a poll out of Iowa recently that said that Kamala was going to be was 47 to 44. We'll see how that plays out. That was a relatively respected poll, but some people feel that one may have been, well, I won't say the word, but you get what I'm saying there. Very interesting here. Believe it or not, Donald Trump did play for New York. I think just to get as many people excited to vote, these polls will close at 9 p.m. He won't win New York, but if he can get a fair number of votes and maybe even win the popular vote overall, that would be nice. That would be very nice. That's why I encourage, if you live in the West Coast, if you live in any of these states, it's still time. It's still enough time to vote. And if you have not voted yet and you're watching this broadcast and live in any of these states where the polls have not closed yet, please go out and vote. Even if you live in a very, very red state or a very, very blue state, please go out and vote. It is extremely important. We need to make it too big to fill in the blank. All right, now let's see here. It has ticked up 1% for Georgia. 45% have reported now. 28% for Texas. This is leaning likely Republican here overall for the for Trump here, and it really should not be a surprise, but I think they're not calling it yet, just out of an abundance of caution, with 28% reporting right now. But Kamala Harris, the Texas is really becoming more and more purple, it seems, each time. It's crazy. Michael Guadagno with 5 Salivate Metal memberships. Thank you, Michael. Very kind of you indeed. And by the way, 90% of the votes are in now in Florida, with 56% for Trump, 43% for Harris. 90% votes are in. They are a well-oiled machine down in Florida. There's no reason why some of these other states can't report as fast as they are. That's just something else. South Carolina, 27% reporting, but they called it early for him. But it's really surprising they're not faster than what they are either. And honestly, look at Alabama. They've been going less than 1% in right now. You would think they'd be faster than that. Go figure. Crazy. All right, you guys are great. Thank you so much, and I appreciate it. Thank you, Stockpile Precious Metals. That's wonderful. Glad you made your vote and your voice heard, even in deep blue, Los Angeles, California. All right, very good. And so let's see here. Missouri, it will likely lean R. That's already been called, I think, by Fox News and CNN. It's called Missouri. But for some reason, the New York Times is hesitant to do so right now. As I take another slurp of some coffee, Maryland has 0% reporting, but they just go ahead and call it right now. Of course, that's a no-brainer. We know where that's going to go. As we continue to watch these pull in, let's take a look and see if there's any new surprises in the Senate. Nothing there. Okay. Let's get back to the map here. They're not showing. We'll look at the Senate over here. Illinois has now been called for Harris. And Harris is no surprise there that Harris has got Illinois 58.67 to 39.91 so far, with only 1% reporting. Some of the congressional or the districts in Maine, which splits its electoral college, has won for Kamala Harris so far, being projected to win there. Let's take a look at the Senate here. Again, West Virginia has been called for Jim Justice, and no surprises for any of these so far in any of these jurisdictions. Murphy got one there. Warren won her seat. No surprise in any of these. There was some concern here that Scott would not be able to pull it out, but looks like he comfortably has done so in Florida. They are pretty much almost done with their votes here, with counting the votes. All of these seats, no surprises. It looks like I don't think there's anything. This doesn't show flips in the Fox News one here. I'm going to go back to the president and take a look at CNN. CNN will show the flips. As we look at the Senate here, there's the flip in the Senate. House. House is showing all of these districts starting to show lean or pretty much called in some of these races. And I don't think they're showing much flips here. Let's see if we can get down to North Carolina and see. Incumbent. Yeah, no surprises yet in any of these House races. This year is no results yet. That's what the gray means. All of these other ones pretty much show all of the pretty much the same information. Nothing really new or no changes there. So we'll keep an eye on it. We're not going to watch that quite as close, but we'll keep an eye on that and see. As the next polls will begin to close here in about 6 minutes. Let's get back to the president. There's a presidential map here from CNN. We're going to watch this here. 90 is what is showing here by CNN here. 90 to 27 electoral votes. That's what matters. It's the electoral college that matters the most. And so far here, we're getting popular vote counts too. And so far, Donald Trump has tallied up a little bit more of the popular vote so far as well. And we'll see. Keep an eye on it. They are saying that Virginia is going to keep leaning Democrat here. For Virginia, here, as has been the case for the last 2 cycles, 35% reporting here. They're showing North Carolina leaning Democratic here. 51 to 47 so far with 12% reporting. Ohio, they show leaning Republican. So far with 40%. Trump is barely edging out Kamala Harris so far in Ohio as these numbers start coming in here. Oh, I agree with you, Liquid Electrum. I agree with you. And apparently a lot of people in Western North Carolina still did vote. There it is. Keep in mind, all these third-party candidates, people voted for these third parties are throwing their votes away. But alas, that's what's happening here. Kansas, Nebraska, so we'll keep an eye on that. Let's take a look back over here and see what we've got on the New York Times. As we continue to watch this here, appreciate you guys joining me here on this election night watch. Almost half of the votes, exactly half of the votes, have been tallied up, and now the New York Times is leaning Republican on Georgia right now, with Donald Trump ahead 55-44, with 50% of the votes being tallied as of this moment. Very interesting indeed. They have yet to call Missouri yet. Very likely Republican is what they're saying. And so, wow, very interesting indeed. And Virginia, they are showing us lean Democrat as the 39% are in, and it is tied right now with 13 electoral votes at stake in Virginia. Very good. Thank you so much. Eat All Your Fish is here. Good to see you. Welcome. And Ian Spooner is here. Good to see you guys. Appreciate you joining me here. We're doing an election night market watch. We're watching the markets here as well, too, and we can see that the metals complex is reacting to what's going on in the United States and Asia. They are down across the board, although silver was down much more than it was earlier in the night. It is now back above support, $32.52 tonight, so that is good that it's holding on as we're going through here. So, yes, Richard Metcalf says to watch Ohio. So goes Ohio, so goes the nation. That has been the that has been the trend line. We'll see if it sticks tonight. Yes, indeed. All right. And let's see here. We have other news, and the news ticker from CNN is saying that Trump is watching election results with RFK Jr. I understand that also Tucker Carlson is with him as well. And Trump tells a radio station if he wins Pennsylvania, we win the whole deal. Yes, indeed. So there's that. Now we're going to look at something. We're going to look back in Pennsylvania again. Only 8% have are showing there. They're still showing it as a toss-up. The county we're going to want to pay attention to is Erie County. And now we're starting to get some numbers trickle in here. And so far, Kamala Harris is up with less than 1% showing. But Erie County is the bellwether for the state of Pennsylvania. So we're going to keep an eye on this and see what they do. And no surprise, the larger metropolitan areas lean very, very heavily into Kamala Harris's favor for the Democrats, with small numbers trickling in here out of Pennsylvania County or Philadelphia County. There have been some concerns about Philadelphia, as there always has been, but recently mentioned here. That's all I'll say about that, for reasons you totally understand at this point. But nonetheless, all these surrounding counties, of course, will obviously go towards Kamala Harris. So we're going to be watching a lot of the more rural counties, and hopefully the suburbs will be able to make up for some of that. And we'll see how that plays out. All right. How long will I go tonight? Maybe until my voice, because I did a live stream earlier tonight, and then I recorded a video, which I got done recording another video for this afternoon. And so it depends on how long my voice is lasting. It's okay for now, but my guess is probably at least till 10 o'clock. But if things get really interesting, I may go longer, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But my guess is we're probably not going to get a result tonight anyway. But we'll see where things go, and we'll keep an eye on these numbers. And we're going to be watching very heavily Erie County. And also we're going to be looking at as well, too, over here in Georgia with 53% of the polls. We're going to be watching Fulton County. This, surprisingly, is really far ahead in its tally here. I'm surprised. If we can get this thing to 99 to 100%, then that will give us a good idea as to where the rest of the state will go, and we can make a somewhat determination. We may find out who wins Georgia tonight as a possibility, as the New York Times is projecting that it's leaning more in Donald Trump's favor. So we'll see here. Very good. Macon, Georgia is another one that I was hoping maybe would lean towards more Donald Trump. But so far, he's being blown out there. And some of these other counties here, which surprised me a little bit, but I've not seen what they're doing. Like this county surprises me. I don't know where Liberty County was. 92% of the votes are tallied here, so we're almost done with this one. And so some of these other counties here where there's not been any results that have poured in yet, these will likely probably be Trump counties, but it's really hard to tell. It's a mixed bag in Georgia. It really is. So we'll see how it plays out. There's that. Now, let's see. No, 8:30 is it's 8:30 right now. So we should start seeing some of these other states pop in here. North Dakota is starting to populate a little bit here. South Dakota should be soon. We should see these all turn red very shortly. We'll find out. Yes, indeed. Let's see here. New York, they close at 9 o'clock, and they'll likely be called as soon as it's closed. There's 28 electoral votes there. Yeah, let's see. Pennsylvania has the most electoral votes of the swing states. Arizona is going to be very interesting. Their polls close at 9 p.m. as well, Eastern time. So that's going to be fascinating to see. Maine, they've already, CNN has already projected Kamala Harris to win one of those electoral votes there. So we'll see. Taking a look here at Fox News, they're showing 111 for Trump and Vance, and Harris Walz with 72 right now. If we look at the maps here, as we take a look, they just have this inset map here. And yeah, they're saying that VP Harris lags behind Biden's 2020 black voter turnout in Georgia so far. Fox News voter analysis shows 70% of Americans believe the country is on the wrong track. Bill, so yes, so that's where that is. And Senate, they've picked up one seat in the Senate, the Republicans have. No surprise in where the House results are right now. So see how that plays out. Let's see here. As we continue to keep an eye on things from a right-leaning news agency, a left-leaning news agency. And we'll see here. And that's where things are staying at the moment for CNN. A more detailed map of the CNN showing that Ohio is leaning Republican, Virginia leaning now Democrat here, 49.7 to 48.5. This one would be a really surprising flip if it went to Trump, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen there. New Jersey, there was some hope for Trump in New Jersey, but it wasn't. It was a shot in the dark when he did that big rally in Wildwood, New Jersey, which there's a lot of people that came from rural areas around southern Pennsylvania, Delaware, and the like. So that really was not an indicator. But more than likely, Kamala Harris is going to carry that one. Yes, indeed. All right. Yes, that's right, Bill Arrington. We did this 4 years ago. We saw what happened then. I'll let you say it, Bill, because I can't say it. But exactly right. It's exactly what happened. You guys are awesome. And thank you for being here. Appreciate each and every one of you for being here tonight. We have a fairly decent crowd. I appreciate you guys as we watch these markets. Maine is being called, well, not being called, but it's leaning more towards Republican here so far. That's where the vote tallies are. But so far, they've not really been called until they turn the dark color. I'm surprised D.C. went for Kamala. That's shocking. You know, as you know, I'm kidding. D.C. is like, what, 80, 90%. Yes, indeed. I think all the territories will probably lean that way, too. Hawaii will definitely go for Kamala Harris. Alaska will go for Trump. We won't find out until Alaska until tomorrow, though, for sure. But yes. All right. Very good. Let's see what we've got. But again, I like the New York Times for how they report and do their maps and the like. Kamala Harris wins Delaware. Let's look at Delaware real quickly because this typically does go Democrat, but I don't really think it should. But I guess for Wilmington, Newcastle County, that is Biden land, right? But even so, these are Dover, Lanes. Of course, the only of the three counties, it's only Sussex County that's going to go for Trump because it is the most rural county there. So that's what's going on there. 72% of the votes there, 40% there, 36% in Newcastle County. All right. Very good. So that's what we have looking like there in Delaware. No surprise that she picked up Delaware. And by the way, Delaware has 3 electoral votes. And 3 electoral votes still is not a small capture. I mean, that's the good tally to have for sure, but it would have been nice to see that flip. Now, New Hampshire's another state that is leaning Democrat, but the thing is they've hired Republican governors forever and a day. I kind of don't understand New Hampshire. I really don't. It is not a woke state. I was through New Hampshire a few years ago, and it's kind of surprising that they would vote, but I think they voted like that in 2020 as well. And Matt Meyer, Democrat, has won in Delaware, so no surprise there. And we see some of these other states who have not been called yet. You continue to see their tallies continue to grow in a percentage rate. Pennsylvania is slow going, but we are getting closer to the top of the hour here, the 9 o'clock hour. But we just reached the bottom of the hour, and that's 8:30, and we're waiting to see what other results are going to be coming in here and any more calls that could be made. Sort of a waiting game here. Texas is 53% reporting so far. Very likely leaning Republican here, but we want to check the Senate seat as well too here. And the Senate, we're looking Ted Cruz is very, very close. He's ahead, but it's with 50% of the votes in. It's not by much against Colin Allred. This is a race we want to watch. We don't want to lose this seat. We don't want to lose Ted Cruz. So yes, indeed. Yes, you're right, Zephiel. They should have allowed RFK to remove his name from the ballot. I agree with that. Let's see here. So this is where we're at. Nebraska has a special district here too. Nebraska special candidate here. We're going to watch that one too. So we'll see by there. But JT Coin Rings is here. Thank you for the 99-cent super chat. Appreciate JT joining us here in this election watch here tonight. We're looking at the Senate right now. Or so far, the Republicans have flipped one seat, which was not a surprise. That was Jim Justice of West Virginia. When we wait, watch, and see some Senate races to watch are Ohio with Bernie Moreno, who is behind the incumbent Sherrod Brown right now. But Bernie Moreno, there was some hopes that he might be able to take that seat. So we'll keep an eye on him. But so far, with 41% of the vote, he is comfortably behind Sherrod Brown. Pennsylvania is another Senate seat we're watching here, and so far Bob Casey is well ahead of Dave McCormick, but it is really hard to tell. The New York Times is now calling Illinois for Kamala Harris, which is no surprise. I think Fox News had called that earlier in the night for Harris easily. Of course, that's Chicago, no surprise there. It's not a swing state. There's been no real surprises tonight other than how fast Florida was able to report their numbers. And again, I can't emphasize how amazing Florida is. 91% of the vote in for that. And let's look at the presidential here again, get back to the presidential results. And we can see 94% of the vote tallied for president. And with Donald Trump comfortably winning there with 30 electoral votes going in the Republicans column there. And again, not a surprise. The only surprise there is how quickly that it was called. So as we continue to watch, we're going to see what happens in Ohio. Pennsylvania, I cannot stress enough, as a toss-up state. We're going to be watching Erie County. Erie County is the bellwether. Where Erie County goes, typically the whole state goes. So we'll keep an eye on that and see what happens there. Looking at Pennsylvania as a whole, we can see a lot of the major metropolitan areas here are getting the votes coming in here, and they're all blue everywhere. Blue, blue, blue. Everywhere for Kamala Harris. And so it's going to be up to these counties and turnout in the rural counties, especially places. Let's zoom back into Pennsylvania again, because I'm going to show you some of these counties. There's a handful of counties here that were registered as Democrat, and they've moved to registration thanks to one man, essentially, in his operation, Scott Pressler. And I'm trying to find Butler County. We know Butler County is famous for for what happened there with the assassination attempt. We're also looking at trying to find Bucks County. Where is Bucks County here? Let's see, where are we at here? We're Muffin County. A lot of counties here. Luzerne County is another one that's highly contested here. And thank you, Red Crawler. Appreciate that. $1.99 beats CBS News. Thank you. That's not a very high bar, but thank you, Red Crawler. I appreciate that so much. Luzerne County is a county to watch. Wyoming County. Let's see here. Pike County, Monroe. I'm trying to find Bucks County because that one, Bucks County is where they were. They had a long wait in line because they didn't have the staff, so they say, to allow them to come through here. Where are we at? I don't know. There's York County. York County is another one to kind of keep an eye on. Berks County. But where's Bucks County? Thank you, Liquid Electrum. I appreciate that, my friend. Go Trump. I can't find Bucks County. I don't know. Anyways, well, maybe we'll get to it at some point in time. I've been around this whole state. There's Greene County. Fulton County. Dang, it can't be that many here. Delaware. There's Bucks County. Bucks County apparently have flipped over. That one, there was hopes that it made me lean Republican. We'll see here. So we'll find out. There's Bucks County. That is a pretty, a lot of suburbans and suburban areas there in Bucks County. It's a very populous county, so we're going to keep an eye on that one. 11% there so far. Kamala Harris ahead there. Let's get back here to the whole thing. Let's take a look at the markets again. It seems to be that they're settling in kind of where they're at now on these prices. Silver's now down just 19 cents. Gold actually picked up a little bit tonight. Up $1.20 right now to $2,745.70. Platinum down 8. Palladium down 26. As we continue to watch these markets, but mostly watching the election. And Cladale is saying that New Jersey has been called for Harris. All right, so that's news. So that's good to get that out of the way here. New Jersey called for Harris. There it is, 72 to 11. And so far, CNN is not showing that yet. But my guess is they'll do that soon. And but it looks like the New York Times has called it for Harris. No surprise there, 28% reporting, 55 to 43 there. All right. So we're going to keep an eye on this. 12%, very slow trickling in of numbers in Pennsylvania. It's a nail-biting situation. Now, we're also going to be watching Michigan, too. It's a toss-up state, but Kamala Harris with 8% in is comfortably ahead. 56 to 42. We'll look at that one later as more numbers come in. But we are still about 15 minutes away from 9 o'clock. We'll see New York close, get called very quickly, and Arizona get closed. It'll probably come in as a toss-up state, and we'll see. Remember, this time 4 years ago, it was called early by Fox News and was relatively controversial at the time. It was called early for Biden. But anyways, so we'll hear. See what we see. Arkansas, yep, all these states are coming in. No surprises for some of these states like Arkansas, Oklahoma, Mississippi, Alabama. North Carolina is still too close to call. These are the two southern states that are the toss-ups. If Trump can get these two states, that'll be good. And so far, Georgia's leaning right, and North Carolina is still in the toss-up column with 22% of the votes in. Trump ahead 52 to 47. So far, no real big surprises tonight, but we did have one flip in the Senate seat. We're going to go back over here and look at the Senate races here. Very easily we can see here, none of these are surprises in any way, shape, or form with some of these here. So we're going to continue to kind of watch things. But Jim Justice has won that seat. That's one win for the Republicans. So, all right. And that was really not a surprise, but nonetheless, there it is. Let's see if anything new from the tickers. We can see here voting services building in Pennsylvania being searched by dogs after a bomb threat. There were some bomb threats earlier in the day that came from Russian email headers, apparently. And so this stuff is happening here. Judge rejects effort to extend voting near Pennsylvania University, where lines have been hours long. And the thing is that they're supposed to be able to accept everybody who is in line at the time that the polls close. So I hope everybody that's in line will stay in line. And if you live in one of these western states that have not closed yet and you have not voted, please do go out to vote. Please go out to vote. I appreciate you guys joining me here tonight. You guys are awesome. And I appreciate your votes. And no matter what state you live in, whether it be heavy blue state or heavily red state, please go out and vote. It's so important. If we can get the popular vote, that's going to be a big deal for sure. But yes, indeed, as we continue to watch these, this is the future of our country at stake. Elections do matter. And so far, it's very close. Let's see here. Too early to tell with these swing states yet. It could go either way tonight, I think, as we stand right now. It could go either way. I knew it was going to be close, and it is indeed close. Crazy. All right. 45% of the votes in Virginia. Kamala is picking up pace. Oh, no, now it's tied. Now it's practically tied here in Virginia. This is interesting. In fact, I'm going to zoom into Virginia here. This is interesting. It leans Democrat, but it's got a couple of, well, Northern Virginia. 55% of the votes in Fairfax County are there. And Arlington, Alexandria, some of these areas are very, very heavily Democrat areas. So we'll see how this plays out. But look at that. Loudoun County, 95% of the votes in. Kamala Harris there. No surprise for that area. Norfolk, no surprise there. Richmond. So we watch some of these areas here. Some of these other towns, independent cities that are going to be voting Democrat, unfortunately. And so it looks like we can see that here. Crazy. We'll see how it works. All right. Very few of these counties in Virginia have not reported any numbers yet, but some of these other smaller counties, they're going to be such a small amount of people that it's not going to make much difference, I don't think. We'll see. All right. Let's see here. What do we have happening here? Let's look at New Hampshire. This is just really kind of. So here we have Concord, 41% reporting here. Kamala Harris way ahead, and Dover, Kamala Harris is way ahead. So this is likely going to go her direction. I would not be surprised. And these are the more populous counties. Yeah, it's not looking good for Kamala Harris here. It just is mind-blowing. But it is the nature of the beast, so to speak. All right. Surprised that Missouri has not been called yet by the New York Times, but it is what it is. It'll matter of time. Only 3% reporting us. They just want to make sure that indeed things are coming through. Georgia, leaning Republican, is now 65% reported here. So this is going to be interesting in Georgia here. If we can get a swing state in our column tonight, that would be good. Yes, Norfolk, Virginia's heavy military makes no sense. I agree with you. But, you know, I guess it depends if the military holds residency there, or if they hold residency in their home states. That's probably what matters there. All right, let's see. Kansas is 28% reporting, very likely Republican. I'm kind of surprised they've not reported that yet, but Kamala Harris is ahead, 52 to 46. So there's that. So, yeah, keep that in mind. We'll see. I'm watching these markets move here. Now silver's down just 15 cents. It was down a dime just a moment ago. And gold is up $1.20 as we watch this here. All right. Very good. We'll see there. But platinum and palladium are also down. Palladium took a pretty big hit, down $22 today. Bill 457 thinks that Harris has got Pennsylvania. It looks like that when you look at the when you take a look at all of the take a look at the cities. Let's see if we can zoom in. I don't know if this will. Yeah, this lets me zoom in here too. This is a pretty good map of it. And Bucks County is showing Kamala Harris way ahead, but it's also only 13% of the votes coming in here. Chester County is actually, this is shot. Well, there's only a few votes in right so far, so don't ignore that. Philadelphia, you can see only 17% in. Kamala Harris way ahead here, so there's still a lot of counting to happen here, and we're going to see how that plays out. Pikes, but yep. I think it's still too early to tell in Pennsylvania. I think it's still too early to tell here. Very little numbers coming in for some of these places here yet. But Erie is starting to report here, but still hardly anybody counted yet in Erie County. Or maybe they've counted, but they've not, I don't know, but they've not come back out, so we'll see here. Let's take a look. And they're still showing here that Trump is ahead slightly, kind of teeters and totters here in Virginia, but that would be very interesting to see. 64% reporting according to CNN here in Georgia, but they're not really saying where that's going to go, although their color means that it's ahead in the count right now, but it's not necessarily that it leans in that direction. So we'll see. But they're showing here in Pennsylvania overall with 13%, Kamala Harris comfortably ahead. And both candidates campaign very heavily here. Frostbite, thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate you. Freedom ringer on my pillow just in case any stupidity starts. All right, there you go. Thank you, Frostbite. Appreciate you, brother. And let's see here. So, yes, we're watching these numbers. We got 7 minutes before the next polls close. But, yep, crazy, crazy. All right. Okay. Let's see what we've got here. High stakes hour as polls close in multiple states. So when multiple states will be closing in just mere moments, we're going to get more calls. Probably no surprises for this next round of calls either, but at least it'll bring us closer, and that's important. And yes, indeed. All right. Let's see what we've got here. Senate races, nothing new there. House races, I don't think we have anything new there either. And so far, no surprises. But again, in moments, we're going to take a look and see what happens for sure as we peruse our way through. It's too early to tell. Even though you may see numbers ahead, they're very early in counting for these. Some of these states they're ticking up a little bit by little bit, and so their projections are where they think where the night is gonna end. So like Virginia, you see lean Democrat because even though Donald Trump is ahead, they've not counted a lot of the urban vote yet, which tends to lean very heavily Democrat. So keep that in mind. Don't be surprised if something happens. But anyways. That's where things stand at the moment as we continue to watch these results come through. Mere minutes before the next round of states close and more calls are make in. Now, they do have a map over here called Shift from 2020, and we may take a look and see here what's happening here. This is interesting. 5.1 points more than Republican in 2020 in this area here. So that's interesting. And this time of the night, they're showing the shift here in some of these states. And so far, it's looking good in Georgia for some of these shifts to red. And here as well, Indiana as well. Ohio, too, more Republican. Putnam County. So this is an interesting dynamic here that we're showing. Shift from 2020. Anytime you see these red arrows, that's good. If you are, and you know, I'm going to have a bias in this live stream. I apologize. I want to be as fair as possible, but you know, I'm one of those that would like to see Trump win. But to anything I say that's good, if you're for Harris, well, think it's bad. Opposite direction as well too. But anyway, so there we go. All right. Here's the live forecast that they're showing here too. And as you can see, these are the indicators that they're showing where it's going to go. North Carolina, toss up. But they have the arrow pointing a little bit to the right, as if maybe it could lean towards Republican. We'll find out. So that's kind of an interesting dynamic here too. But we get here the live forecast, and then the actual winner, which is the one that's now they're showing 101 for Donald Trump here, as they have now called, Arkansas, Alabama, Tennessee, Indiana, Kentucky, West Virginia, South Carolina. So there's these numbers here as we continue to see Kansas, 30% reporting. Virginia, half the votes have been tallied in Virginia. Still too early to tell here. So, yes, indeed. All right. So there we go. And let's see here. Fox News. They're showing 111 to 72. 101 to 71 over here at New York Times. And 105 to 27 CNN. So, all right. There we go. CNN here on their main page has got some other information here as Harris aides wait for more returns. Focus centers now in Pennsylvania. Voting services building in Pennsylvania being searched by dogs after bomb threat. So yes, you can definitely take that into, and who knows, maybe some counting locations will be as well. Yes, indeed. All right, Ted Cruz up 3.7% in Texas. That's good news. But cautiously optimistic here, but it's still very, very close. We'll see here. Very good. All right. You guys are great. Thanks for being here. If you are here, if you don't mind pressing that thumbs up button, I'd appreciate it. We're 2 minutes away from the polls closing in a number of states. So we're going to watch the map light up here in a moment with more calls. None of them will be surprises. Arizona will not be called. I'd almost be willing to bet money that it will not be called when they open. You know what I'm saying? It's just going to be it's going to be a long night. Arizona's, they say it could take up to for a week in Maricopa County, which is the most populous county in the state, for them to count the votes, which is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But anyways, all right, I'm going to refresh this page. Battleground races in Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia. Too early to call still. Very good. We continue to watch things happening here. Let's get the latest news here. The ticker. We're 1 minute away. 1 minute away. We'll see this map probably populate very, very closely here. We're going to actually refresh this here in just a moment. We just don't have the technology. We don't have the technology. Yes, indeed. And, we're going to watch Wisconsin, Minnesota, too. Wisconsin's another one of those states that could go either way. Yes, indeed. We'll watch and see. Dennis Niemeyer is here. Ominous Rooster. You guys are awesome. Billy Bob Marengo. Long time no see. Good to see you. And Chief is here, too. We're watching these as the markets or as the states close. Polling places close. We're going to keep an eye on it here very, very closely. It is seconds away. Now it is 9 o'clock. And let's see. The next ones that come in. Nothing yet. Polls too close in Arizona, Michigan, and Wisconsin soon. So polls to close in battlegrounds, Arizona, Michigan, and Wisconsin. They have closed. We'll see them pop up as being too close to call in moments. Here we go. Texas called for Donald Trump. Wyoming called for Donald Trump. No surprise there. Nothing in South Dakota, North Dakota for Trump. Kansas leaning towards Kamala Harris right now. That's a little bit concerning. with 29% of the vote in, but Kansas City, so we're watching that closely here. So there that is. I want to see now the Senate. Was Ted Cruz able to hold on to his seat? Nothing yet on Ted Cruz. 57% in. They have not called the Senate race for Ted Cruz yet. And kind of doesn't surprise me in some ways. But the fact that Donald Trump has now been called by CNN for Donald Trump is good. It shouldn't surprise us, but actually, I tell you, it's Texas has been worrying me over the last 4 or even 6 years that it could go in that direction. So we're going to keep an eye on it here. And so, yes, and this race here, we're also watching. Josh Hawley has a pretty big competitor with Lucas Kunce. And so Josh Hawley is still behind right now, but only 6% here. He's incumbent. If he loses that Senate seat, that would be a pretty big loss because Josh Hawley's been a very good senator there. So I hope he was able to retain that seat. All right. Marsha Blackburn, no surprise there, is declared the winner in Tennessee. All right. Angus King is an independent Senate, and I don't know where he leans politically, but he's so far ahead there. Very good. Okay. We're refreshing again. Nothing new here. On the Senate side, let's take a look at the president. And 154 to 27 right now, but it's very early to call. Still too early to call. No surprises in all of these states so far as we continue to monitor these things here. But yes, indeed. Let's get back to our tried and true. We've got the New York Times is showing here. New York called for Kamala Harris. No surprise at that, as I predicted. No surprise there. More than 95% of the vote has been tallied in Florida. Donald Trump winning that state. Louisiana called for Trump as well. Arkansas, Oklahoma. Texas, very likely Republican. They have not called it yet for Trump, but CNN has called it, and I think, and it looks like Fox News has called it as well too. Pennsylvania, North Carolina, too early to call. Nebraska for Trump, and he has won there with 5 votes. The other district probably will go to Kamala, or the other electoral vote. Yes, indeed. Zephiel, I'm using Fox News, CNN, and New York Times just for the reporting, yes. Because I want to see what different organizations say, how they're reporting it. That's the reason why I'm doing that. All right. Arizona has closed, but nothing there yet. Nothing's been reported yet. No reporting, which is no shock, by the way, by Fox News. And no shock at CNN that Arizona has not reported anything here either. And Arizona, they're saying that first results are expected around 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Most voters cast ballots by mail, and counting typically takes days. Officials in Maricopa County said full tabulation could take 10 to 13 days, which is absolutely ridiculous. But that is the case there. And New Mexico leans Democrat here. And these here are showing here that most unofficial results are expected by noon Eastern Time by Wednesday, but 1 a.m. Eastern Time Wednesday. Processing by absentee ballots must either conclude or pause until the next day. So, yes, indeed. All right. If you still live in a state that is not closed yet, please vote. Very important. We're going to take a look at the shift from 2020, which is very interesting to see here. We can see that in most of Georgia, we're seeing a shift 11 points more towards Republican. But this is concerning here. There's been a notable shift to Democrats here in these populated areas. Fayette County, Douglas County, Rockdale County. And there can be enough there to offset these here big time. But we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. But so far, Georgia, there's a lot more red arrows than blue, so we'll keep an eye on it. And we can see the margin count, but this is the forecast. Ratings here, Colorado leaning likely Democrat is what they're saying here. New Mexico likely Democrat. So we're seeing these things start to play out. Texas is all but called for Donald Trump right now. And yes, swing states here we see. Pennsylvania, toss up. No one knows what's going to happen in Pennsylvania yet. Only 17% reporting here. That's going to be a nail biter. That's going to be a nail biter for sure. But let's take a look at Pennsylvania again. Like I said, the bellwether for Pennsylvania is Erie County. And it's not doing hardly anything in terms of reporting any numbers yet. And that may be strategic. That may be strategic in how they're doing this, because it's such a bellwether county. But we're going to keep an eye on it anyway as we see more of these. But we also look here. We know these are going to vote, these counties are going to vote Democrat. But what we're looking here for is the percentage of votes in. Because if we can get these counted quick, then we know what we're dealing with. But only 16% of the votes are in Philadelphia County. But you can see it's strong Kamala Harris so far. Only 15,000 votes for Donald Trump in Philadelphia County. And all these surrounding counties very heavily. This could make or break the whole state here. So we'll see how this plays out. It is something else. We'll keep an eye on it. It's crazy. But it's a, but I knew this is not going to be the blowout some people had hoped for. It is going to be a close race. And some of these numbers are going to be coming in very, very slow now, I think, as the evening goes on here. And I do like that some of these will say here what's happened. Let's look at what they say about Florida. Votes are counted extremely quickly, with 99% of votes reported by midnight in both recent general elections. First votes are expected after the polls close at 7 p.m. Yep, fine-tuned machine. Virginia. Most results tend to be reported by noon on Wednesday, though mail ballots postmarked by Election Day have 3 days to arrive. And we go up here to Pennsylvania, what they're saying. County is expected to extend beyond election night, primarily because election workers are not allowed to start processing mail ballots until Election Day. So there's that. See, each state has their own rules. And this is why that is the case. So we may not get some of these numbers, but we're gonna stick with it here. Both these polls are not reporting any numbers yet, although I think some of them. I think New Mexico is starting to show some numbers populate for New Mexico, and this is going to go the other direction for New Mexico. This is very early. Kamala Harris will win this state, almost guaranteed. Same thing here. Kamala Harris will win Colorado. I don't think either candidate went out. Well, no, actually, Trump did go to New Mexico, I think, fairly recently. He gave it a shot there. He's done multiple rallies in the last days. It's been quite an effort by Donald Trump. But anyways, let's take a look at New York here. Why are we looking at New York? Well, because he did campaign here twice. And if he can get some of the popular vote and cut some of his margin here down, then that could be something. 16% of the votes are in. Obviously, the most populous city is New York and the 5 boroughs here. If we get in, we can see here some of these numbers pointing in here that Kamala Harris obviously very far ahead with 52% of the votes in here. And I'm actually was kind of hoping it wouldn't be this wide of a margin. But indeed it is. And so there that is. And Brooklyn here is also very, very heavily Democrat. Queens, 66-39. Bronx, 78-21. So it's crazy. But that's what we're dealing with. Staten Island, though, good old Staten Island. It's holding its own. That is New York. Okay, let's see here. Okay, let's see what we've got happening. Let's get over here. We're going to take a look now at some of the tickers. Vote totals in Nevada are higher than in 2020, according to the Secretary of State. That can be both good and bad. It's another toss-up state. Critical. Official in Detroit suburb picking up memory cards at precincts to try and speed up vote count after long lines. Memory cards. That is a red flag to me, but that's just me. That's all I'll say about it. That's all I'll say about that. All right. Judge extends voting in Pennsylvania County following bomb threat. Hundreds still in line in Arizona State University minutes before polls close. So they're continuing to vote in Arizona State University. If it's at a university, that does not bode well for Trump in Arizona. All right. So there that is. All right. So far, we see here the House, no flips in the House. Only one flip in the Senate, which was expected. No surprises anywhere tonight so far as we watch these numbers come in. I was cautiously optimistic. Donald Trump has just won Ohio. This breaking news, Donald Trump has just won the state of Ohio, according to the New York Times. And so far, CNN has not reported that yet. Or they have not called the race yet for Ohio, for Donald Trump. Fox News has not called the race for Donald Trump yet in Ohio. So far, only the New York Times, of all places, has called it for Donald Trump in Ohio. So we'll see if these other agencies do that. But so far, they have not made a call yet for Ohio. My Silver Journey, thank you so much. Thank you, My Silver Journey. Appreciate you being here. You have doing some streaming tonight. I'm just a dreaming of a streaming here and seeing what some of these news agencies are doing for Ohio right now. That really was not a surprise. Ohio was pretty much always in the column for Trump, but so far it's leaning Ohio here, but not. Oh no, wait a second. They've called it for Ohio too now. Well, it's like it's flipped. See here when I highlight it? Oh, no, wait. I'm in another state. Okay, there it is. 53 to 45, 53% of the vote in. They probably should have done that. Now, let's see here, but they have not called it over at CNN yet. And they've not called it yet in over at Fox News either. The Associated Press has also called Ohio for Trump as well, too. Now, what we want to also watch and see is who is going to win the Senate seat? If it would let me click on it. Let's go to the Senate seat here at CNN. The Senate seat in Ohio. So far, Bernie Moreno is now pulling ahead of Sherrod Brown with 53% of the vote in. That's a pretty big shift so far, although that could still change because as we get in closer to Ohio, Columbus is a very heavily Democratic here, and he's way ahead. And 56% of the vote is in. That could turn the tide. Cleveland, also a very heavy Democrat area. They only have 36% of the vote, so I could see why it's too early to call for this Senate race. And when we look at the presidential race here in Ohio, we can see that 57% have reported here. 41% here. So there's still some room in some of these bigger counties that could lean heavily in her favor. So in a way, I'm kind of surprised that the AP and New York Times called it this early, but I guess they know something we don't. And And you would think if two very left-leaning, especially the New York Times, were to make that call, then that means, and they finally called Texas, by the way. Donald Trump wins Texas. That puts his total count to 177. He needs less than 100 more to win, but that's a long road ahead, a very long road ahead, for sure. In Pennsylvania, Kamala Harris is way ahead, but only 20% of the votes are in. 72% here in Georgia. Still no winner yet in Georgia. Most voters tend to vote early in person. Vote reporting is usually relatively fast, though the state could still be counting corrected mail ballots overseas and provisional ballots for several days. And I think that's a provisional ballot onslaught in some of these states we're seeing now. So we'll see here. Super E-Rock has voted in California. If you've not voted and you live in California and some of these western states like Nevada, please go out and vote if you've not done so. Even if it's a very red state or a very blue state, we need all of your votes. Very, very important as we continue to monitor this here. So there is Florida now. They're showing it leaning here, but they've not called it yet. Fox News has finally called it, though, for Ohio for Trump. So they have called Ohio for Trump, and Senate for Ohio. Moreno is ahead, but they have not called the Senate yet for Moreno yet. That would be another pickup for the Republicans if he were to pick up that seat. So we'll see here. That's where the Senate is. Very interesting. All right. And keep an eye on things. Keep an eye on everything indeed as we continue to monitor this. The election results coming in. The states are lighting up blue and red accordingly as I slurp this coffee. We're keeping an eye on things, but so far, no real big surprises tonight in either direction, anywhere on the map. So far, no real big surprises. And the markets are reacting accordingly here with gold up marginally. Gold is up $1, $2,745.50. Silver down about a half a percentage point, down 17 cents tonight. Still above support, which is good. So we'll see. I don't think that we will get a winner tonight, by the way, anytime tonight. But we're going to keep an eye on the markets until at least 10 here, I think. And see where things go and see if we have at least one of these swing states being called. If it's going to be any swing state that's going to be called, it's going to be Georgia. But we're getting some news about that is not encouraging, for sure. Not encouraging as far as some of the activity that's been going on here. Other states that are starting to report numbers here is Wisconsin, which is a toss-up state. Donald Trump is ahead here, but do not be alarmed by this or overly excited about this because that's only 3%. Likely some of the more rural counties are reporting those numbers there. That does not mean anything right now. 10 electoral votes at play. Minnesota, much the same thing. Does not mean anything right now because a lot of the rural areas are probably reporting and urban areas are not. Iowa here, Kamala Harris is ahead, 58-41. It's likely Republican, but it's one of those as well, too. It's very early to tell. And so we'll see here. All right. Very good. Continue to monitor this. Colorado, 25% of the votes in. Very, very likely a Democrat there. No surprise there as we move through. Arizona, they're not going to start reporting any results until 10 p.m., so we may not get much there. We know it's going to be days before we find out what goes on in Arizona. So we're watching Georgia. Every time this number ticks up 72%, that's a good thing. We're getting closer, and we see it go up and move up ever so slowly tonight. And here, Pennsylvania, toss-up, not much activity here. Presidential race being called. They still have not called Ohio yet. CNN has not. So they're still waiting to do that, to call that. every other organization that I know of. Yes, indeed. I agree with the HVAC residential basics. I hope that as well, too. By the way, good to see dove season. Dove season is in Arizona, so I'm wondering what he thinks about Arizona, anecdotally, what's going on the ground there. They will not be reporting any results until 10 p.m. The polls have closed there just earlier in the hour here. About 20 minutes ago, they closed. Yes, indeed. As we continue to monitor things, Virginia, 55% of the vote in, but do not be too excited yet about Virginia because there's still a lot of votes to be counted. And if we zoom in on on here, we've got Richmond, very populated county here, but it's almost a dead heat here in Chesterfield County. That's kind of unusual. That's somewhat encouraging, but Fairfax just blows it away. And 63% of the vote is in there, and that's very heavily in her favor. Same thing for Alexandria. A lot of numbers here. Prince William County, all this Northern Virginia counties, heavily, heavily, heavily Democrat. And it's going to be here, places like this, even some of these smaller counties. This is where Charlottesville is. No surprise there that they're going to be voting in the direction. Some of these small independent cities here, some of them are actually leaning towards Republicans, which is a little bit surprising, but still early on to tell here, so we'll see. We'll see here, Chesapeake. So we'll keep an eye on these. Some of these more even rural counties here are still voting for Kamala Harris so far. 92% of the vote there for Kamala Harris, so there's that. There's a very few counties who have not reported anything yet, so we'll keep an eye on it. But there that is. All right. Very good. Let's get back out here. Wisconsin, again, very early tallies in both of these states. And this is what's known as the blue wall through here. And so far, it's too early to tell where it's going to go in any of these races here. We'll see. But, all right. Very good. Let's get over here to see what we've got here. 177 to 99 is the count and the tally at the New York Times. Shift from 2020. The more red arrows you see, the better. And so we are seeing some of that in Indiana. But so far, not much else to report in some of these other areas. New York, Vermont, a slight shift there, but obviously they've already been called, and it's not enough to make movements in any direction here. So we'll see here. All right. But we want to kind of get a better idea. The forecasting here for these swing states, Georgia swing state is leaning Republican right now. North Carolina is leaning Republican as a swing state, 51% of the vote in. Still too early to tell for sure, though. Pennsylvania, just kind of languishing here, languishing for sure. But the other states are Nevada is a swing state, and counting usually takes days, but new technology and rules could speed reporting. Postmarked ballots are allowed to arrive up to 4 days after the elections on November the 9th. But their polls don't close till 10 p.m. So we may not get any much results here as we peruse through here. But what I want to do now is take a deeper dive into Georgia as they move up to 76%. And we're going to go right into the Fulton County here with 84% of the votes tallied so far, which means that she can only get so many more votes here. She can only get so many more votes in this county. And some of these other ones here, very high tallies. It's again really surprising that that's the case, but they're reporting very quickly, very high percentage rates, which means that there is a fighting chance for Donald Trump in Georgia. A fighting chance of 76% of the votes have come in so far. So we're going to keep an eye on that. The other thing I want to draw your attention to is back to Pennsylvania. Only 24% of the vote has come in here. According to Bill Hemmer, she needs 700,000 votes in Philadelphia County to win Pennsylvania. And the last time Biden got 600,000 votes in Philadelphia County in 2020. She needs 700,000 here to win it. So that's something I'm going to keep an eye on here. She's gained 1/7 of that so far, but there's only 20% of the votes that have been tallied so far here in Philadelphia County. So that is something that he's speculating over there. We'll see. Obviously, she could pick up numbers from some of these other counties here that could move that, but apparently there's more registered voters that have moved to Republican side in Pennsylvania. So I'm cautiously optimistic for Pennsylvania, as 24% of the votes have come in. So we'll see how it plays out, but we may not know anything in Pennsylvania until tonight. So far, no new states called. Missouri has not been called yet for the president, for Donald Trump yet. A little bit surprising there, but it is still a little bit early. And we're also looking here now to see what other little news. CNN projects that Harris will win Illinois. Well, that's not any news. That's old news. They're just now getting that in. CNN projects Harris will win Rhode Island. I thought she had that in the bag. All right. Okay, let's see here. We're showing one flipped seat in Republicans in the House of Representatives tonight. One flipped seat for Republicans in the House of Representatives, according to CNN. Early wins are no bellwether. I do agree with them on that. Early wins are no bellwether. All right. As we continue to watch some of these things, the Senate race here, we're looking here. Ohio, still too early to call. Moreno is ahead, though. The number's ticking up slightly more here, 58.3% in for Ohio. As we continue to watch some of these numbers here. But good news for the House of Representatives. We did pick up one seat there. All right. We're almost at the bottom of the hour, but I don't think we have anything closing right now. Nothing closing in the at the bottom of the hour here. So, all right. 13% reporting in New Mexico. I don't think that's much of a change we had before. 20 states have put their National Guard in standby. Wow. Crazy to think about. Scary situations for sure. Ohio, 59% of the vote has been tallied now. Donald Trump is comfortably ahead here. Missouri has been called for the 20% of the vote for president, but not for the Senate seat yet. Hopefully, Josh Hawley can hold that in. All right, very good. 59% reporting in Virginia right now. So I have a feeling we're at the point of the evening now where it looks like there's going to see trickling of numbers. I think we would be surprised if we got North Carolina and Georgia within the next half hour being called. I don't think it's going to happen, but we could see Georgia being called within potentially the next hour or so. We'll see here. Thank you, Aaron Ritchie. Appreciate it. I'm trying my best here. Appreciate you guys. So that is a possibility that we could see Georgia called first of the swing states. I'm going to predict that Georgia will be called of the swing states first tonight. And I'm cautiously optimistic that it might go to Republicans. It has now ticked up another percentage point here, but no one wants to make that call yet. And by the way, I don't know. Let's see here. I'm trying to think here what we're looking at in terms of, we're going to look over here and see what's going on in terms of the Senate races and see if there's anything coming up in Georgia. I don't think there is. No, there's no seats in Georgia. I don't think there is. Usually they alternate, they stagger those seats, but that is not the case here in Georgia. And we can see here in Virginia, for instance, Hung Chow is not too far behind Tim Kaine right now, which is really surprising. Hung Chow did not really run the best campaign that I saw, but we'll see there. But Tim Kaine is the incumbent. I still think he's going to maintain his seat. We'll find out. Wisconsin, this is would be a nice flip for Eric Hovde, who is ahead with 7%, but that's extremely early, very early to tell. Minnesota, we have Amy Klobuchar, who will likely win that seat. That's not really been of any contest there. So we'll see how that plays out here. So, all right. And no other surprises here. Although here, 20% in, Lucas Kunz is ahead. This one could be a nail biter. Josh Hawley, I think, this is going to be a very tough race for him. He may not be able to pull this out, which means that a lot of people voted. There's enough people that have voted for Trump that also voted for the Democrat Senate candidate, which blows my mind to think about that. But yes, indeed, it can happen, and it has happened. Crazy. All right, let's see here. As we continue to monitor these things, we're also looking at the Senate seat here, also in the state of Michigan, which I still think is going to lean Democrat, but apparently there was some hopes that the Republican could take it. That is Mike Rogers, but I think he's far enough behind. I know it's only 12% of the vote, but I don't think he's going to be able to pull it out, but it could be wrong. It'd be nice to see that one move in his direction as well, too. But we'll see how that plays out. That is the Senate. There was one flip in the House. Let's see if we can get that one tied down here. I'm not sure where that seat is in this mess of congressional districts here. One seat out of all of these, and I'm not sure that we're going to be able to nail it down. It might be here in North Carolina. It is in North Carolina. Addison McDowell. I'm glad it's in North Carolina. This means that there may be a chance that the Trump may be able to pull this out. That's a blowout, by the way, so far at least. In the 6th Congressional District of North Carolina, Addison McDowell picked up that seat. And apparently his opponent, or her opponent, was Kevin Hayes, a Constitution Party member. Where was the Democrat there? Crazy. All right, well, okay. That's kind of a weird one, isn't it? All right. Okay, let's see here. Let's get back out here. Okay. Let's get back up to president and see if there's anything here on the presidential race. It is a nail biter, but you're going to be biting your nails for a long time. It's going to be a very slow move to this 270. But we'll see here. Glad you guys are here. Welcome. Good to see you guys. Thank you, Hawaiian Brian. Good to see you guys. Thanks for joining me here tonight in this special broadcast. By the way, I am open to push-ups on this broadcast now as things have kind of slowed down here. Let's take a look at the markets here. And now all the metals are down slightly, but not too much. But the silver is just barely holding on to support here. $32.52 so far tonight is silver's price. 20 up or down 20 cents. Gold is down again. It was up earlier in the night, but it's not down by a whole lot. Down 80%, or 80 cents rather, 0.03%. And platinum down 8. Palladium down $27. So there's where the markets lie at this moment in time. Yes, indeed. Let me go there, but yes, indeed. I almost need to get the blood flowing here. I don't know. We'll see here. I'm stretching out just in case if you want me to do some push-ups. All right. Hey, Count Derpel is here. He did not go to bed. Thank you for being here, joining us on this special broadcast. We're doing a market watch here, checking 3 different news agencies Fox News to see what they're reporting. We're going to refresh their main page. No news information here, but Battleground states, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. Too early to call. No surprise there for any of this stuff. It's crazy. But we have some idea of leanings as we look here. But let's see. Arizona judge rules to keep Arizona's Apache County open until 9 p.m. local time after earlier voting issues. Okay. All right. And then Arizona judge said, there we go. Initial CNN exit poll, Harris currently carrying Latino voters by narrow margin than Biden. Okay, that's according to the exit poll there. Harris wins New York, no surprise. That was called a long time ago, but I guess they're just now getting to it there. Very good. All right. As we continue to monitor these things here. And we've got more information coming here. So far, Virginia's reporting 62%. I'm keeping an eye on Virginia because this could be a surprise. But if they're saying likely Democrat, more likely that's going to be the case. It's just that Donald Trump has been fairly consistently ahead here for the most part, although narrowly. But we'll see here. All right. Appreciate you guys being with me here tonight as we do this election market watch. And if you could press the thumbs up button, I'd appreciate it. Georgia, 77%. It's been at 77% for a while now. I would not be surprised if it's the first of the swing states to go ahead and be called for Trump. I am hoping, we'll see. But I think it's going to be a little bit before we see that occur. All right. Wisconsin, 19% are reporting now. Kamala Harris is still ahead here. Michigan, also toss up, too early to call, but Kamala Harris is ahead there. All right. So we'll see. Colorado, 35%. Very likely Kamala Harris will win that state. No surprise there. New Mexico, going to be the same thing. I'm going to keep an eye on it. All right. Thank you, Christian Mueller. Yes, indeed. No, I would not want that job. That's for sure. But I will take, I'll just stay with the ones I got. All right, 95, more than 95% voting. Look at that. I mean, that's a pretty big win for Trump in Florida. It's amazing to see. That's 30 electoral votes. Something else. It very well could be that Trump takes the whole South, aside from Virginia. Wouldn't that be something? All right. And Pennsylvania has now moved up to 30%. Kamala Harris comfortably ahead so far. Again, we're watching, as we watch Pennsylvania trickle in, the bellwether is Erie County. So far, no movement there. I think that might be strategic because Erie County is kind of a bellwether here. We're also watching Philadelphia. Bill Hemmer says that Kamala Harris really needs to get 700,000 votes to be needed to win here. So we'll see. But these votes are coming in very, very slowly here. Very slow tallies in these areas here. Pittsburgh is half the votes have been counted so far. And so 66% to Kamala Harris. Not surprising there in any shape or form, in any way, shape, or form. Very good. So there we go. We've got it. In these areas. 31% now. So they're very slowly trickling in here. 1.1 million votes for Kamala Harris so far. This is something. And it's 9:40 right now. And all we can do is just watch some of these states just kind of trickle in some of the votes and see what we've got here. All right. There's some nervousness that Iowa may actually go Kamala's way based off of a Des Moines poll that came out a day or two before the election. And if that's the case, that would be a surprise if those 6 electoral votes went her way. but they're showing at the Times that it's leaning heavily Republican, so we'll see. All right. Let's see what we've got here. And we did get some pickups in the House of Representatives, as well as the Senate, one seat in each. One for the House of Representatives and one for the Senate. We can see there. All right. One flip there. So far, some of these other Senate seats we're watching is the Senate race in Missouri. Very slow results trickling in. 22% of the vote. Lucas Kunce is ahead, 51-46. This is a little concerning. We'll keep an eye on that as more of these numbers populate. All right. Metals complex, we're seeing now a stronger movement to the downside of the metals complex in the Asian markets right now. Gold is down $3.50 at $2,741. Silver is now down 25 cents below support. It is now $32.47. Platinum is down $9 to $999. That is below $1,000 yet again. Palladium down $30. So very interesting indeed. So we'll see. I do not think that we are going to get a result tonight, folks. Some people were predicting a landslide, an electoral landslide. I don't think that's going to happen. I would be surprised. But yeah, we'll see. It's a shame that some of these states have some of these rules, and it takes so long to count these votes. It's so frustrating. But I guess that's states' rights, and but there's also some things that I think that really need to be changed on for federal elections, because what happens in Michigan can affect everybody for federal offices. So I really do think we need a national holiday and one-day voting. And if you can't vote on that day for whatever reason, which is understandable, then have absentee ballots. But you have to proof of citizenship with photo ID. Yes, indeed. Otherwise, just make it one-day voting. And for federal offices, I don't think we should, and registration, I think, for federal offices, I think should be before, not at the time. No, none of these provisional ballots. I think the provisional ballots is going to cause a huge problem, folks. The provisional balloting is going to be, there's going to be an inundation of provisional ballots, and it's going to be crazy. I really do. I think that's going to be a problem in this election. Pay attention to provisional ballots, folks. All right. So we'll see here. All right. Continue to monitor these elections. 32% in for Pennsylvania right now. Kamala Harris still comfortably ahead there with 32% in as we continue to monitor these things. So there that is. So far, no real movement at all in some of these numbers. It's crazy. All right. So it's kind of a slow period right now in terms of the where things are at. Live forecasting is showing no change here. Minnesota leaning Democrat. Iowa still leans Republican here. New York Times projections here, what they're showing. So we'll see here. All right. Privacy of voters is also a concern. Yes, it sure is. All right. 178 to 99. So it's kind of been stuck in that range for a while. No real new information on any of this stuff here, as we continue to monitor these things. All right. Okay. Next polls close in 14 minutes and 30 seconds. I think that's going to be Colorado and a couple of other states. We'll see here. That's where these lie here. So we're at a point where there's not really much to discuss, so I'm open to push-ups and any measure or exercises. Shoot, I might do them anyway, just for the gits and shiggles of it. But right now, nothing new here. Before we do some push-ups, let's see the latest tickers. Trump spoke briefly to supporters at Mar-a-Lago as they watch results come in, according to sources. Harris still very likely to speak tonight no matter what. 4 minutes ago, Georgia, Gwinnett County experiencing significant delays in reporting results due to adjudication software. Go figure. Wow. Look at that. Gwinnett County. Let's take a look at that. Gwinnett County. In Georgia. 77% of the vote. That's likely going to be one of these counties around here. Yes. Why does that not surprise me? Adjudication software. Doesn't that tell you everything you need to know? 70% of the votes there, 60-39. Folks, it's the same thing over again. Look at this. And we're seeing a lot of that. Provisional ballots, adjudication software, bomb threats. We just need the plumbers to go into action, just like in the Watergate. I'm telling you, folks, this is very concerning. I can't say much more than that, but it's crazy. All right, there we go. Red Crawler with the first with a super chat. Thank you, brother. He's gonna do them too. I need to get some blood flowing after hearing that latest news. $4.99. Let's do 5 push-ups, and he's gonna do them with me. Thank you. Let's do it. Make it happen in this hour. Here we go. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There we go. All right. Yes, indeed. They're at work in that county. Figures. All right. Okay. Let's see what we've got here. Let's move through there. So, yep, Georgia. This county is having problems. If you're just joining us, this county right here, Gwinnett County, is having a little trouble with their adjudication software, apparently. Go figure. Red Crawler did 10. Nice. Yep, deja vu all over again. That is in Atlanta, and the thing is, they've got 83% of the vote. Now, look at this. They've been at 83% for a long time. So they're pausing, and that's just it. A lot of these counties, they pause counting. Boy, I hope there's a lot of poll watchers. There better be poll watchers there like crazy. They better have them on hand there. It should be completely transparent. Because if you know what, and that's all I can say about it. Bibb County, which is Macon, Georgia, is 73% of the votes are in there. 62-38. Augusta, Georgia, with 78% of the votes coming in there. And Kamala Harris is ahead there. So we watch these urban areas because when we get these counts in, the higher it goes up, and the sooner they can close them out, then we're going to get a very good idea, a better idea of where we're at. But this Gwinnett County, 17%, that could make or break everything. That could hold Georgia for quite a long time from being called. And that is what they want. You know what I'm saying? The chefs at the Cook the Books Club are in effect. Man, it's crazy. And this is why people, well, I can't even say it, but you know what I want to say here. All right, let's see here. Very good. And let's see. But so far, we got about 11 minutes before the next round of polls close. And we'll see what happens there. But so far, the Senate races, we've only picked up one flip seat in the Senate, and that's West Virginia. And these other races are too early to call. We're watching closely this race in Texas, hoping that Ted Cruz can hold on to a seat. There's 60% of the votes have been counted, and he's comfortably ahead so far. But probably likely some of these urban areas have not reported, like Austin, San Antonio, Dallas, Houston, and the like. So we'll see here. All right. Let's see what we're at. Nebraska special election. Looks like Pete Ricketts has won that. And let's see here. That's the Senate. And let's look at the updates column here. Where things stand, which is all of the stuff we've already talked about. And live presidential, what they have, the Needles early take, is they feel that Donald Trump has a 69% chance of victory tonight so far, according to CNN's or the New York Times early take on this. It's very early take. That needle could shift dramatically, but we'll see here. Other news. Here we've got 8 minutes ago. With more than 75% of the vote counted in Georgia, Trump is a clear favorite. A lot of votes remain to be counted in the Atlanta area, where Harris has shown some strength. She will need to outperform our expectations to close the gap from 8 minutes ago, according to Nate Cohen. People watching election coverage after polls close at VFW in Wisconsin. So people, this is the Super Bowl of elections. For sure, there's a new update here. What is that new update? We're still in a wait-and-see mode in northern battlegrounds. Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. We still don't have many votes counted there, but the data we do have points to a very close and competitive contest in all 3 states. No duh. In other words, basically there's nothing new there. Tell us something we don't already know, Nate Cohn. Let's see here. Very good. All right. Okay, let's see. As we peruse through here. That's where everything stands. We'll look at the president map again. And see if there's anything on Fox News. Refresh here and see if there's anything. Too early to call. These are gonna be very common words here tonight. Too early to call. That is going to be the mantra of the whole evening everywhere. But I think if there's any state that's going to be called, it will be Georgia, except for what we just heard about Greenwich County, or whatever that county is. We'll look at it again. Trump wins Louisiana. That was called earlier, but anyways, past 9:30. FBI engaged with states that receive bomb threats at election locations. The mood at Howard University gathering remains upbeat. So both camps are optimistic they're going to join with Georgia's Gwinnett County experiencing significant delays in reporting results due to adjudication software, much as what we heard before. So there's that. So let's see here. But so far, 79% are reporting in Georgia. So they continue to tally. We'll see here. Yep, we knew it was going to take a few days. I was just kind of hoping that we could be surprised a little bit tonight with at least 1 or 2 swing states being called. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen so far. But one thing that has just been called, that is the coffee. I just finished the coffee. Now I'm putting some chaser in there. So the coffee is finished. All right. And we'll see here. All right. Virginia, 63% of the votes coming in. Donald Trump is widening his margin slightly there, but it's still very difficult to really say what's happening there because the Times is reporting that it's likely Democrat, but not strongly likely Democrat, but enough likely Democrat to be in that margin here. So we'll see here. Yeah, that's not just lean Democrat. It's likely. So I don't think Trump's going to win Virginia. Don't think that's going to happen. See, they're still reporting only 77%. For Georgia. CNN is reporting 79%. Fox News, which really doesn't have the best maps here. You can't like zoom in on these here. They're showing 79.77% there with Trump ahead 52 to 47. So we'll see here. All right. By the way, I'm purposely ignoring Alan Gold's comments here. That is on purpose. I'm pretending like he's not here tonight. What kind of nonsense is that? He's doing trolling. It's not even good trolling. Usually he's better at trolling than this. Usually he's there's something wrong. Something wrong with Kamala Gold here tonight. All in Kamalan Gold. There's something wrong with Kamalan Gold tonight. Yes, indeed. Let's see here. All right. What do we have? Let's take a look at some Senate races, shall we? And we'll take a look at some Senate races and where things stand, and then we're going to take a look at the markets here, especially at the top of the hour, as more states will likely be called. Senate races are showing here. These are not calls, but Tammy Baldwin is ahead of Eric Hovde. In Wisconsin, Minnesota is showing Royce White ahead of Amy Klobuchar. But there's only 1% of the votes in. This is too early to call. Well, it's going to be Amy Klobuchar, so don't think otherwise there. She's going to win that. But anyway, let's see here. Oh no, don't blind Aaron. He's just having fun. Alan Gold's a friend. He's just having fun. It's all good. He's been around a long time. He's the lovable troll, believe it or not. Let's see here. Texas, I'm a little bit worried about, even though it's showing Ted Cruz ahead comfortably here. There's a lot of big cities in the state of Texas, and most of the polls have them within the margin of error, with Ted Cruz barely ahead, and I think one poll had Colin Allred ahead. But this is very close here, and 68% of the vote is in there with Ted Cruz ahead, but I'm still a little bit worried about that. I'm also worried about Missouri. He is showing for the first time up tonight, 50 to 47. That's encouraging news, but it's still only 26% of the vote. That has not been called yet. That has not been called yet. Very good. All right, let's see here. All right. Yes, Masta Blasta, I do agree with that. In fact, George Soros has had his hand in many of these races. No question about that for sure. Pennsylvania is another one we're watching. Bob Casey is the Democrat incumbent, and with 40% of the vote in there, he has a very comfortable margin ahead of Dave McCormick. I was hoping Dave McCormick would pull this one out, but it doesn't look likely here, in my view. But I don't know. We'll see. I hope I'm wrong on that, but we'll see. We'll see. There has been a lot of registrations in the Republican column thanks to Scott Pressler, but it may not be enough to pull it out because they weren't. There's still more Democrats and Republicans registered voters in the state of Pennsylvania. Commonwealth, rather. They're a Commonwealth. New Mexico, the incumbent is Martin Hellnrich, and he is now behind, but there's only 21% of the vote in. Nella Dominici, this is not a Senate seat that we've been watching or paying much attention to, so likely this will probably go in the incumbent's favor there. New Hampshire Senate. Thank you, Red Crawler. We're going to do that. Let's go to New Hampshire Senate seat. Overall, there is nothing in New Hampshire for Senate. Let's go back out here. There is no Senate seat up in New Hampshire. No seat up there in New Hampshire. So there's that. Dan Osborne is beating Deb Fischer as an independent. This is interesting, 39%. This is a little concerning. I don't know who Danny Osborne, what his politics are, but I think he's probably liberal. But yeah, crazy. 39% of the vote. I don't think that should be under threat, but you never know. And he's picking up the lead there with 40% of the votes in. That's concerning. All right. Let's see here. All right, as we mark on through, we're going to keep watching these things. Let's get back to the president and see if there's any other states that have been called, because it is after 10. Polls have closed in many battleground states. Too close to call. Montana, no surprise, has been called for Donald Trump. Nothing counted yet. But we're going to take a look quickly here and shift to the Senate in Montana, because that's a Democrat incumbent. And let's see if they've called that. And they have not called that yet. John Tester is an incumbent there who votes with the Democrats most of the time. Tim Sheehy very well could take this Senate seat. He is favored to take it, but we don't know yet. No polls have been counted yet there. We're going to look at back to the presidential and see if any other states have been called. So far, 172 to 81, according to CNN. He needs 99 to take it. But so far, Utah's been called, no surprise there. And Nevada, again, nothing yet there, but those polls have closed. So far, the only states need for polls to close will be Idaho, Oregon, Washington, California, Alaska, and Hawaii. None of those are any surprises. So far, all of the swing states polls have now closed. All of the swing state polls have now closed. So what happens? Very good. So we'll see what happens here. El Nino de Vida means it doesn't matter if you put a farm animal in the Oval Office, the result financially will be the same. No, I disagree, El Nino. It's going to be a big difference if Trump wins the presidency. There's no bigger difference in the agendas of two presidential candidates than there has in the history of these United States than in this election. El Nino, this one will be important. It will make a huge difference who wins the presidency. No question. That is definitely. All right, so looks like the Times are now calling Montana for Donald Trump. No surprise. Let's look at what they're saying for the Senate. 2% reporting for the Senate. And so far, the Green Party candidate is taking the lead there. That's kind of weird. But indeed, that is the case. And then the Green Libertarian and then Tim Sheehy. Okay. That's kind of weird. Wait a second here. That's no votes tallied for the incumbent yet. I guess 2%. I guess we just not enough data there yet to see. All right. Okay, let's see here. Virginia 66% voting now. Donald Trump still maintaining a lead there with 66%, but like I said, a lot can change and very quickly there in that. Pennsylvania 49.7 to 49.4 now with 45% reporting, tightening up there in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. That's true. Liquid election, very, very true. If Trump wins, a lot of wars to end tomorrow. Oh, yeah. Okay. Georgia, 83% of the vote has been tallied, with Donald Trump leading 52 to 47. Let's take a look at the trouble counties. We have got, and we're going to go right over here, 87%. That's up from 83 in Fulton County. So there's only so much I can go on there now that has been reported. And but this county, Gwinnett County, they have paused counting the votes because of a software glitch, adjudication software problem. So this one, you'd have to calculate the number of registered voters if they register by party to kind of give an indication of where things are and where it could lead, which means they may still be able to call it in spite of that. But I think that's a Hail Mary effort there. And with Atlanta reporting fairly quickly, Cobb County reporting with 89% of the vote, with 57 to 42. There's not much more that could happen there. Some of these Republican counties are almost all done here. You're not going to get much, you're not going to squeeze out much more votes out of some of these counties here. And these are much less population of these counties. So it's going to come down to the wire here, some of these others here. So we'll just see how this plays out. I'm not sure what to make of it. We're going to go back up to Pennsylvania and look at our bellwether, which is Erie County. And again, Erie County is now showing 2% of the vote in. They're slowly trickling in here with a slight edge for Donald Trump there, but I don't see that lasting. I think it's going to be tight there. But as I mentioned earlier, according to Bill Hemmer, Philadelphia, Kamala Harris would need 700,000 votes to take Pennsylvania. Will she get there? With 40% of the vote, she's not even halfway there yet. This could be somewhat of a bellwether, weather in a different way, but we'll see here. Yes, indeed. We're also watching Bucks County as well, too. It's very heavily leaning more towards Kamala Harris right now. But they had problems there in early voting. So we'll see how this plays out. Very interesting evening so far. But pretty much as expected. We're also watching a Senate seat here in Ohio. With 71% of the vote tallied, so far Bernie Moreno is taking a fairly good lead so far. A comfortable lead, I will say, in Ohio, but it has not been called yet. This could be a pickup for the Republicans in Ohio. Yea, though, it is still very early to tell what's going to be happening in Missouri. Josh Hawley is starting to take the lead there, but not by much. Still too early to tell in this race. Virginia, we're seeing Timothy Kane ahead of Hung Chow, but not by a whole lot. We'll see. That could be a surprise, but I don't think it will be. I still think Kane is going to pull it off there. Paul Tissue says that Polymarket is showing the betting markets for Polymarket Trump at 87%, Harris at 13%. So that is a notable shift in the betting markets. I don't like to use that as a metric, but I hope that that's correct. Butts are flying effect is fairly confident that Hawley is going to take it in Missouri. I hope you're right. I'm not as confident there, but I hope you're right. I hope you're right. He's the incumbent, and I hope he will take that. Ted Cruz is looking more and more likely he might be able to maintain his seat in Texas, but 66% of the vote is in, and of course, when we get into close here, looking at this, Dallas has got 51% of the vote, and Colin Allred is way ahead there. And Austin, obviously, it's massive blowout here against Ted Cruz. But the one good thing in Ted Cruz's favor is over 3/4 of those votes have been tallied in Travis County. So once that's done, no more votes can be done there. Now here's Montgomery County. And it's a blowout there, too, for Ted Cruz, which is the exact opposite, but far fewer people than what we have in Travis County. Houston, much the same there. Colin Allred is ahead, though, but not by much comparatively, and 72% there. So San Antonio is the other one we want to look at here. We can see Colin Allred, 57 to 41. So these are the kind of things you can get into some deep math on this to get an indication of where things could go. And others that are more professional and have access to those numbers, registered voters, where they're likely to vote, how many votes are left to be tallied. Those are the kinds of things that you're going to be looking at. And if they can't be able to call it Well, certainly I'm not going to be able to call it here either. So we'll keep an eye on it. Montana's another Senate race here. We're watching here to see what happens. John Tester is the incumbent here, and so far, very few results trickling in some of these areas. But Helena is the capital. Of course, I don't know what the most populous city is there, but this is a seat that we may pick up. We'll see. All right. And if you're just joining us here, we have picked up a seat in West Virginia, which was not a surprise. It was a major blowout against Glenn Elliott, the Democrat. Jim Justice took that seat, very popular governor of Virginia, who started out as a Democrat and then switched to the Republican Party in mid-term of his governorship. All right. Thank you, Mark Razor. I appreciate you, sir. Thanks for being here. Angel Silver 47 is here. Appreciate you, brother. Hope you're voted for Trump. Yeah, I think you voted for Trump. It looks like there. Oh yeah. And I wish I could say without further ado, I can declare a winner, but we're not declaring any winners tonight and will not be for a while. I was hoping as I broadcast here, as my throat's about to give out, that we could have declared Georgia for Trump tonight, but it is not going to be happening yet. 84% of the votes have been tallied here, but the New York Times has not made the call yet. CNN has not made the call yet, but they're showing leaning Republican. Fox News has not made the call yet. In fact, Fox News decision desk says Nevada is too early to call. No surprise, joining all the other pivotal battlegrounds. So every single battleground state is, as of this moment, too early to call. And it just goes to show you it's going to be close. So we'll see here. But Colorado has been called for Kamala Harris. Again, no surprise there. No surprise there yet, for sure. Yep, I've been speaking a lot tonight. I recorded a video this morning and I published it. Recorded a video this afternoon and published it. Did one live stream earlier. Recorded another video for publishing tomorrow morning. And now I'm on doing another live stream. Very busy today, and also worked a full 8-hour day at my job, at my full-time job. I've been busy, folks, so appreciate you guys, and thanks for the few of you who have super chatted tonight as we peruse through. I am open to push-ups, by the way, and so yes, indeed. Bill Hemmer is saying that hurricane-ravaged areas of North Carolina appears to have shifted red. Asheville voted Democrat last time. It looks like they're voting Republican this time. That could help North Carolina. We're going to look at North Carolina here in a moment. And Fox News voter analysis finds 53% of Pennsylvanians want substantial change for how U.S. is run. That does not mean that Pennsylvania is going to vote red, though. That's Fox News, and they tend to lean more Republican. So I like to see what other folks are saying here as well. So what we're going to let's look at North Carolina from CNN. 71% of the votes have been in here. Asheville is still leaning Democratic here, 61 to 37%. So where that shift is, maybe is in outlying areas outside of that, or maybe even more. Maybe it was a bigger blowout in Nashville before. Yes, indeed. So there that is here. Some of these other counties here that are in. Charlotte is obviously another one that's coming in 18%, a big, heavily populated area. Kamala Harris, so a lot of votes to count there, so that's going to be too early to tell. Wilmington, as well, is voting Democrat. Kamala Harris, a little surprising there, but Raleigh, a lot of blue areas here. A lot of blue areas we're showing. Oh, man, thank you, Liquid Electrum. Appreciate it, my friend. Thank you, $4.99 from Liquid Electrum and $4.99 for Red Crawler. All right, thank you, my friends. Let's do 10 push-ups for you guys as we look here. You can see these votes being cast and tallied in and updating in real time. 16 electoral votes are up for grabs in North Carolina. It would be nice to pick up that one tonight as well as Georgia. Let's do 10 push-ups for you guys. Thank you so much for your kindness there. All right, you guys are awesome. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right. There we go. Thank you, guys. Get the blood flowing tonight. I appreciate you guys so much for that as we peruse through it. All right. There we go. But so far, Donald Trump is ahead in North Carolina. So we'll see how that plays out. 71% of the votes tallied there. Georgia, 81% there. Pennsylvania, for the first time tonight, Republican Donald Trump is ahead with 51% of the votes in. Still too early to get excited about that, but that's somewhat encouraging to see. Yes, indeed. Silver Wolverine, I'm a little tired. Throat's a little scratchy, but we're powering through here tonight. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Arizona, with some of the votes being tallied right now, 49% are in, and Kamala Harris is ahead 50 to 49.2. So it's a tight race in Arizona. So, but this is a first tonight. 49% of the vote is in there, which means that we've got 51% here at the New York Times showing 50 to 49.2. I'm very curious about the Senate race here in Arizona. This could be a pickup for Kari Lake, but Ruben Gallego, who is a new candidate, but the Democrats control. Well, actually, right now, I think that seat was controlled by Independent, but nonetheless, he is ahead 53 to 45 with 48% of the votes in. 53 to 45, and so it is Kari Lake may not be able to eke this one out. It's a little discouraging considering the presidential race is tighter there. But anyways, thank you, Silver Scientist. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching and being here tonight. We have a fairly good crowd. Can somebody give us a thumbs up count tonight? We've lost a few viewers, but we're going to keep going here for a little bit as you watch some of these Senate races. Pennsylvania, Dave McCormick has pulled out into the lead tonight with 50% of the votes in. That's encouraging to see. Very, very slightly ahead by 0.1% there in Pennsylvania. Interesting. Ohio, we're seeing Bernie Moreno maintain his lead, widening it slightly. Yes, I know, it's a nail biter. Michigan, speaking of the Wolverine state, we can see here that for the Senate, Elisa Stotkin is ahead of Mike Rogers here. So it's somewhat close, but 20% of the votes are in there. Wisconsin, Tommy Baldwin, looks like she has been declared the winner there. I don't think that was much of a surprise, but she's been declared the winner, and she is the incumbent there in Wisconsin. That's a little discouraging. That means that the presidential race there very well could... well, look at this. Donald Trump is actually slightly ahead of Kamala Harris so far in Wisconsin. So that's an interesting thing. The Democrat won the Senate seat, or was projected to win the Senate seat, according to the New York Times. But Donald Trump is making this state competitive right now. Iowa, now we're showing Donald Trump ahead in Iowa, which is leaning very likely Republican now. That's good news. I was a little worried there for a little bit. That's 6 electoral votes. We need all of them we can get. Minnesota, president, only 2% of the votes in. Don't get too excited about this. These 10 electoral votes will probably go to Kamala Harris. In fact, I'd almost be willing to bet money that they're going to go to Kamala Harris. Arizona, with 51% of the vote in, Kamala Harris is ahead, 50 to 49.2. And, of course, when we look at this, we're going to be checking Maricopa County. I'm actually surprised that there's this many of the votes have been coming in, but we're not going to see this number move much tonight. Most of these votes will not be counted for a couple of days, but you can see there that it is fairly tight in the Phoenix area in Maricopa County. That's pretty wild. I'm kind of surprised that Kamala Harris is beating Donald Trump here. That's kind of odd. Tucson doesn't surprise me that Kamala Harris is ahead. There's not very many counties in Arizona, but yes, indeed. All right. Master Blasta, Kristen Sinema is an incumbent in Arizona, but she is not running for re-election. Really thought and hope for Carrie Lake can take the city. I hope she can too. I don't think she's going to take it though. I just have a gut feeling. And she's a smart candidate. For some reason, Arizonans are have a bad taste in her mouth about her. I don't understand it. It must be something, I don't know. But she was in media a long time. But everything she's ran for, she's lost there, unfortunately. I don't think she's going to pull it out. I hate to say it. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong, because I really like her. But so far, as we bite our nails, none of the swing states have been called yet tonight. I think most of these news agencies are very nervous about doing it. And now look at this. Georgia, I think it was like 83%. Now it's showing 80%. So it's kind of weird there. But anyways, all right. Donald Trump still ahead there. North Carolina, 73%. Donald Trump seemingly taking a wider lead there in North Carolina. No Senate seats, by the way, up in North Carolina that I know of. And again, nothing changed there. Very good. And yeah, Virginia, we've not looked at in a while. Virginia is 69%. Now Kamala Harris is ahead. It's kind of flipped back and forth. It is a very tight race. And we're watching in Virginia, a couple of places. Northern Virginia here. These are the counties that we want to see what they're going to be doing. 70% of the vote there in Fairfax County with Kamala Harris way ahead. And so it's just very early to tell what's happening here with some of these Northern Virginia areas. That's going to be what's going to make or break what's happening here. Let me see here what we got here. Alexandria, 81% in, 76.7% for Kamala. So it's very difficult to really say what's going to happen. And because most of these other smaller counties down here, they've already pretty much counted, so there's not much more that Trump can pull off from these counties. So we'll see. Chesterfield, you're very close in Chesterfield. That surprises me. Richmond City, only 24% has been counted right now. So most of that's going to go to Kamala Harris. So I think that Kamala Harris is going to take Virginia based off this alone. So many more votes to count here for her. In Richmond City. Let's go back out. I think she's going to pick up votes here. Already right now, she's widening her margin already because some of these votes are coming in here. Trying to live the dream. Thank you so much. Says, I just like your blue hammer dig at Kamala. Blue Hummer dig at Kamala. We should all get blue Hummers or whatever color. Thank you. The blue Hummer dig. Thank you. Glad you enjoyed that. Let's do 5 push-ups for trying to live the dream. Thank you so much. I appreciate your support tonight. Thank you very much. Let's do it. All right. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right. Very good, folks. By the way, I've not mentioned our in-chat poll here, and I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys participating in this. We have 560 votes here, and 87% of you think that Trump is going to take it. I hope you're right. I'm not nearly as confident as you are, but I'm hoping you're right. I really, really, really am. Let's see here. I don't think we're going to get a result tonight, but Virginia is something that I would love to see flipped over, but I don't think that's going to flip in our favor tonight. All right, let's see here. Pennsylvania, though, is we're seeing Trump with 54% of the vote in. Trump is holding on to an edge over Kamala Harris in Pennsylvania. But still, a lot of votes to be counted or created or found, in Pennsylvania. And there's already been some let's just say, shenanigans that have been discovered earlier in the day from people on the ground. We've got more people on the ground in these states than before, so 85% of the vote is tallied in Georgia, with Trump at 51.3, Kamala at 47.7 here. What are the markets complex? How are they reacting to this? Well, they're taking bigger cuts, bigger dives in the precious metals complex tonight, as the Asian markets are wondering what the heck is going to go on, what's going to happen. I think they're realizing there's not going to be a result tonight, so they're a little uncertain. And that uncertainty, well, I don't know. I mean, you would think it moved in the opposite direction, knowing that there's not going to be any results tonight, or maybe they expected it. Silver down 1.2% tonight, down 41 cents, well below support now to $32.31. Gold is down $3.70 to $2,740.80. All right, very good. All right, very good. Yeah, I know, it's FIL. I don't get it. If people vote in the poll, but they don't thumb up the live stream, it's crazy. But I appreciate those of you who have thumbed up the live stream. Yes, indeed. All right. All right, let's see here. So far, let's see what we've got here with CNN and see what they're saying here. Trump wins Ohio. That's not new. Milwaukee finishes recounting 30,000 absentee ballots as counting proceeds swiftly. So we'll take a look at Wisconsin again. I don't know why they're doing these projections so late. They've had these states called for a while. Let's see here. Some Nevada polling places have hours-long wait as polls are closing. Watchdog reports relatively smooth election nationally, but cautions many races won't be called tonight. All right. So I think that's probably, as we go through here, I was hoping we get at least one of these swing states. And so far, 3 of them are leaning towards Trump. But it's just 3 of them, in fact, 4 here are leaning Trump. Of course, Wisconsin is extremely close by 0.3%. Crazy. I knew it would be close. But yeah. Minnesota, only got 3%. That's going to go to Arizona. Look at that. 49.7 and 49.5. Extremely close so far. So there that is. Crazy. All right. Let's take a look at the Senate here and see what the Senate is showing here as we peruse through here. Josh Hawley seems to be picking up a little bit his lead here. Somebody mentioned earlier that they feel pretty confident he's going to maintain his seat. I hope so. It's looking more and more likely now. But still, not even half the votes have been tallied yet there. Texas, we're watching this one too. Cruz is picking up his lead. That's good. That's really good. I'm actually surprised at that. Arizona, a little disappointing here. I don't think Kari Lake's going to make it, folks. I don't know why they haven't called this one yet. Let's see here. Virginia, watching that one too. 70% of the vote is in. Tim Kaine is widening his margin now. No surprise. I don't think Hung Cow's going to make it. Let's see here. New York Silver High says New York Times dashboard is Trump's dashboard percent. I don't know what you mean by that, but yes, indeed. Let's see here. But this is encouraging. We might be able to pick up this seat in Ohio. Bernie Moreno. We'll see there. All right. But let's take a look at the Senate side over at the New York Times. see what we've got here. I like this one the best. It's just the way they show things here. Texas, widening margin for Ted Cruz. He has been declared the winner now. Oh, no, I'm sorry. He's not been declared the winner. That means incumbent. My bad. Sorry about that. So there those are. Missouri has been called for Josh Hawley. So whoever said that earlier, they were right. Josh Hawley has been declared the winner now. That was a little bit of a nail biter, but that has been declared. So that's good news. He's going to hold on to that seat is what they're projecting there. Let's see if they're projecting it over at CNN. They are not yet. They're showing a higher tally there. Fox News, Senate-wise, let's take a look here. What's happening in Vermont, Indiana. Virginia has been declared the winner. Kane has been declared the winner, projected the winner in Virginia. Really not surprising there. But let's see here if we can get to Pennsylvania. We're waiting for Hawley has been declared, projected the winner, projected in there. Klobuchar has been projected the winner in Minnesota. No surprise there. We're going to see what Montana shows. Still too close to call Montana, but Sheehy is ahead of Tester with 3.5% reporting there. As we watch there. So, well, there's Braces was called for Cruz a long time ago. Okay, I didn't realize that. That's good. They're still not showing it here, though. CNN has not declared the winner there. And I don't know that Fox News has either. Let's see if Fox News has declared Ted Cruz a winner of Texas. Should be at the next screen here. Don't see it yet. Where's Texas? Where is Texas? Let's see. We're waiting for Texas to populate in this area right here. For Fox News, and it's not showing. For some reason it's not showing Texas here. And I can't click it on the maps yet. We'll see if one more screen shows up here, and we'll see if it shows up in the next screen. If not, we'll try to get the map again. Nope. No, nothing for Texas. That's crazy. Okay, here we go. Okay, there it is. They did call it for Texas. We had to, this link was not working for me earlier. So anyways, all right. Fox called it on TV. Okay, very good. But it has not been called over at the New York Times or CNN. CNN has not called it yet either. All right. Well, very good, folks. Dave McCormick is now slightly ahead by 0.5 percentage point of Bob Casey. We're getting more Senate seats called now. Wyoming's has been called. John Barrasso, no surprise there at all for this. And President. All right. We're going to see here. We're going to see what the latest in this, some of these new things are popping up here. We've got this. Despite close race in Georgia, Trump and Governor Kemp haven't spoken in a month. Okay. Trying to fan the flames there, CNN is. Huge batch of votes will be posted soon in Battleground, Georgia. So that will be interesting to see what pops out of Georgia. Huge batch of votes. That phrasing right there tells you part of what you probably have thought. You think about that. Huge batch of votes, what that means. Yeah. All right. This is why they're not calling Georgia yet, because of that. And we can guess 91%. Here they come. Donald Trump still ahead with 91%, those huge batch of votes. This could be called soon. This could be called soon. But one of the things we're watching for is this county here, Gwinnett County. They have now picked up some of these votes now, and Kamala Harris at 59% to 40%, which means if that's the case, this could be a win for Trump tonight. We may see that being called here. I'm going to stay here with you a little bit longer to see. This could happen. We'll see what happens here. It's very possible. Fulton County, 91% of votes in. There's not many more votes they can get here in Fulton County. Cobb County, 93. Clayton County, that's almost done. Henry County's 80% done. So we may get a call potentially in Georgia soon. North Carolina is at 85%. And we're looking at Raleigh here. It's likely Republican here too. The whole state has got 51 to 48. This could be called. Donald Trump won this county in 2020. All right. Very good. Yeah, I wish I could do the same thing. Liquid election. Call it for Trump now. It's in the bag. That'd be nice. Charlotte has got 92% of the vote in. Not many more to take from there. Okay. Let's take a look at our bellwether. Erie County now is showing strong for Kamala Harris with 32% of the vote coming in here. They say that where this county goes, so goes the state of Pennsylvania, even though Trump is ahead in Pennsylvania right now. Also, Bill Hemmer saying that Kamala Harris needs to get 700,000 votes in Philadelphia County to win the state. And if this is correct, then she's not going to make it because 56% of the vote is in, and she only has 307,000. So we'll see how that plays out. All right. Where are we at? 91% of the vote there. Let's see if any of the other news organizations have called Georgia yet, and I'm not seeing it. And so far, nothing yet. 87.92% tallied according to Fox News. No call there yet. Trump strategy in Nevada win over Latinos and rank and file union members. So we'll see there. Very good. All right. Wisconsin now leaning Republican, teetering back and forth a bit here. Shamefully, some people are still voting for Robert F. Kennedy Jr., which is a shame. And, yes, indeed. 49.2 to 49.1. Very good. All right. Nick's Coins is here. Hello, Nick's Coins. Good to see you. We're watching these races here, and Virginia, we can see Kamala Harris is picking it up there. 74% of the vote is in, widening her margin slightly there. And we're watching some of these races here. We're looking at Georgia as well. 86% of the vote here for Georgia. Watching some of these races, Donald Trump is ahead very, very slightly by 0.1% in Arizona, with 51% of the vote coming in here. Fox called Iowa for Trump. All right, and Iowa has been called by CNN for Trump too. That's good. We were a little bit worried after that Des Moines Register poll, but so that's good. We got that in. Thank you, Silver Wolverine. And Nebraska leaning pretty heavily Trump as well too. No surprise there. We're seeing some of these states start to fill in the gap. But we're going to be also watching. We have one Senate seat that has been officially picked up. But we're going to look here at CNN at the Senate results here. See what we've got here already. Jim Justice, if you're just joining us, that's a pickup. Not a surprise, though. Ted Cruz, they're not calling this for Ted Cruz yet, but others have called it already for Ted Cruz here. CNN has yet to do that yet. Doesn't look like Kari Lake is going to make it in Arizona, which is unfortunate. We were hoping that she would, but I don't think she's going to make it there. Josh Hawley has been called by Fox News and also the New York Times, but not in CNN yet. Dane McCormick is ahead with 59% of the vote, but only slightly. He may be able to pull this one out. That would be up in the plus column for us. Missouri, or Michigan Senate, Mike Rogers is close with Elisa Stockton, but he is behind. But there's only 23% of the vote tallied there. And so yes. And Minnesota, they're trickling in here. He's not going to win that seat as we watch through here. And Tim Kaine is going to maintain his seat. It has not been called by CNN, but others have called it for Tim Kaine. Fox News called it for Tim Kaine. So there's where that is. All right. And, yep, they're finally calling Iowa for Trump. The New York Times is. We're also looking here, the shift from 2020. We're seeing this really pick up. Look at all of this red. That means there's been a notable shift in red votes in Republicans and territories for all of these, for these areas here, which gives us some idea. There's a lot of that in Georgia, which bodes well. North Carolina, we're seeing some of that too, and some of that shift in western North Carolina after the hurricane as well. Live forecast, Trump 88%. Yeah, we'll see that too. Yeah, we're going to look at live forecast for here. And when we look at the live forecast, the chances of Trump winning is likely. It went from lean to likely here from the New York Times forecast of the outcome. Now, don't be too excited about this, folks. These numbers here are what they're betting on right now. Anything could happen to pull these way back to toss up and lean left. So this may seem good so far, but I would not get too excited about this. We've seen this before. We've seen this before where this kind of have moved back here. This is encouraging so far, but it is very early, folks. It is extremely early to really bet on this so far. But we'll see. We'll see. This is somewhat good news, but here, and we see some of these states here, these very well could lean in Trump's column. They're leaning very heavily here. These states could be called very soon. We're going to keep an eye here. As soon as a major network or the AP calls it, we'll see here. I probably should have AP's numbers here too. In fact, I may do that. Here, let me see here. Bear with me here. I don't like the AP's maps here. Although Drudge is reporting off-site here that the Dems are likely to take the House of Representatives. And so I don't know. AP 210 for Trump, 112 for Harris right now. This is the APs, and these are all the electoral votes here. I just don't know why they do this. It's kind of unnecessary because all these are just electoral boxes, but they're all going to be the same. That's what's in play right now. But if they're dark colored, that means the state has been called. If they're light colored, that means they lean towards that state. Right now, Maine has not been called anywhere, but one of the electoral votes leans Republican. With Nebraska, these have been called for Trump, but there's two electoral votes that lean Kamala Harris, so that's why they do that. Trump is doing better across the board by a few percent. We are looking great. Well, good. I'm glad you're more confident than I am, but yes. and a lot of these things here. But again, 210 to 112 for the AP. Over here is 210 to 112 for New York Times. Presidential for CNN is showing 207 to 91. Fox News is showing 211 to 117. So everybody's going to be reporting different things. I'm not going to even pull up MSNBC, but I'm looking at right-leaning, left-leaning map. I like their little tickers here. Trump wins Kansas. These things are a little bit late here. Log jams may cause brief delays in North Carolina's election data appearing online, officials say. Log jams, okay. Arizona will be the ultimate test of Trump's risky ground game strategy. Early reaction to what we know. All right, there we go. So there that is. So we'll keep an eye on some things and see what we've got here as we peruse through some of these. Appreciate you guys being with me here. I'm losing some viewers tonight. I was hoping to get in more viewers and more participation tonight, but this is where things stand. And let's give 300 to Sal. There you go. Yes, indeed. I've reached over 270 thumbs up, so I guess I've won electoral, winning there. If I can get 300, that would be nice. All right. But you see here, this needle was down here just a moment ago. It's already moved back this way. So this is going to fluctuate tonight, folks. Even though it's 87% chance of victory, that's at this moment. This is at this snapshot in time. See, these needles are based off of where the counts are right now. But we don't know how many ballots are outstanding in some of these areas. So do not rely too much on that. I'm telling you, like Pennsylvania here, this could very much, there's only 61% of the vote. That could move dramatically. I don't know. I mean, I kind of doubt it. I don't know. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays. All right. Very good. Let's see here. Virginia here. Kamala Harris, 50 to 48%. I think she's going to take Virginia. I think that's going to be called soon. All right, 88% for Georgia now. CNN is reporting. If we go over here and look at the actual winner map, which I think this is really the best test here to see, they're still showing 91%. I think it might be stuck here for a while, although it's showing very likely 51-48. We'll see here. That would be nice to see him pick that up. Wisconsin, Donald Trump is ahead with 57%. With leaning right here. Michigan leans right, 50 to 48, but that's only 26% of the vote. I don't know that Michigan will carry Trump. I don't know. We'll see. All right. Minnesota, only 5%. Things are kind of stuck there. Arizona, very, very tight race in Arizona so far, with Donald Trump barely ahead. And the precious metal markets are down. Look at that. Continue to see drop in silver's price well below the support of 32.50. It is at 32.14. That's a big drop for silver tonight. Gold is down $9.90. And silver highs is showing the poly market, betting market increase now to 93%. Paul Tissue as well was showing that. It was at 87% earlier. Very interesting to see how that's playing out. Although I'm telling you, I don't like to look at those markets to get me too excited, just because it's very much based off of emotion there. Gut reactions. We got to look at the real data as it's coming in to see. And right now, the fact that they're still not calling Georgia tonight, even though they have been comfortably in Donald Trump's column, this means something's happening here that has me a little bit concerned. These two states, I think, should have been called already, considering where we're at, but I don't know. Anyways, 307 votes, and we declare you the winner. Thank you, Mark Razor. I appreciate you. Well, if I'm a winner, it's only because you guys are a winner, and I appreciate you guys being with me here tonight. Well, folks, my voice again. It's been a busy day for me. released a video this morning. Worked a full 8-hour day at my normal job. Recorded a video for this afternoon. Did a live stream earlier, my regular live stream, for almost the full length amount of time that I normally do. Then I recorded my video for tomorrow. And then I've been doing this live stream for well over 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours now. And my voice is almost shot. And I got to save it for tomorrow. So, Krusty Whitebread says that Newsmax has called Georgia. And that's nice. That's cool to hear. Although I don't, Newsmax is a very right-leaning network. When I love Newsmax, don't get me wrong. But I do not take that as gospel yet. But let's just check real quick here and see what some of these others. Let's see if the AP is going to call it Georgia yet. Because see, they don't even show. They show 90% here reporting. They show 93% here reporting 51 to 48. They're showing 88% reporting here on CNN. Fox News has not made the call yet either. And they are showing 51-48 with 89.9% reporting. So, yeah. I won't believe it until I see one of these major news agencies doing it. One of these other bigger news agencies, the AP, New York Times, none of them have reported. And New York Times is getting their data quicker than anybody else. So that's why I kind of lean on them and see if they make a call. But they've not called it yet either. I was hoping I would be able to be here long enough to get to at least one of these swing states called one direction or another, and it's not happening. This one, this one, this one, that one, this one, and that one. Virginia, I'm surprised they've not called that yet for Kamala Harris. I think they should go ahead and do it, but that's just me. New Hampshire, they've not called yet either, but that's likely going to go to Kamala Harris. Maine has been very slow in their counts, but it's going to go Kamala Harris. That actually surprises me. They really should go Republican. Paul Tissue, thank you so much. A $5 super chat, keeping me going here. Thank you, brother. Let me give you 5 push-ups. Thank you so much, my friend. Let me do that real quick here. See, who knows, in that time we not pick up another percentage vote here. Let's do 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you, Paul Tissue. Very kind of you, sir. You guys are great. Let's see what we've got here. Okay. Okay, let's see. Nicholas Blackiston says NBC says Philadelphia getting a big batch of mail-in ballots at midnight. Okay, big batch at midnight. And that is somewhat encouraging because they've already gone through in Philadelphia 67% of their votes. And she needs 700,000 to win. And she may not get that, but still, who knows? If they get a whole bunch at midnight, you know how Philadelphia is. You know these big batches. Whenever you hear big batch of ballots coming in that late at night, you know what that means. I'm not going to say anything more about that. Yes, indeed. All right, let's see here. Okay. What am I on the fence about, Andrew Munchkin? What am I on the fence about? Let's see here. Some of these other 46% here. Pittsburgh is at 91%, so we're almost tapped out there in Allegheny County. Bucks County is another one we're watching closely. It's a fairly tight race there, but only 42% of the votes are being counted there. Erie is the bellwether, and 32% of the votes there. 32% of the votes are there. All right, very good. All right, let's see here. Michigan, 28% is now reporting, 51-47. Wisconsin, 58% reporting, 50-48. North Carolina still 86, Georgia 93. Arizona 53. Very, very tight race in there. Let's take a look at the Senate one more time here. See if we got anything else that has popped in. Thank you, Joe F. I appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you. Thanks for your kind words. For those of you just joining us, we have one flip Senate seat so far confirmed, and that's West Virginia. Oh, man, Tucson Bubba, $5 for your throat lozenges. Well, thank you. I'm going to slurp some water in your honor. You can tell my voice is struggling here. Let's see here. And so these are the seats that have in the Senate that we're looking at. We flipped one seat for the Republicans tonight so far. And for some reason, Texas has not been called yet for Ted Cruz, even though other networks have called it. Missouri's been called now for Josh Hawley. That's good. I was a little nervous about that one. Arizona, Kerry Lake is not going to make it. I'm almost sure of that now. Montana, very close to call here. Tim Sheehy is ahead, but only 5% of the votes have been tallied here. I think that's pretty much it. Tim Kaine, I think, has already been called, but the New York Times is not making that call yet. But Hung Cao is not going to win that seat either. I don't think that's going to happen. All right. Very good. But we'll check this. I want to show you now again this live forecast here. They're showing now Michigan is leaning red right now, leaning Republican. But let's look at these numbers. I'll show you how, you see these needles here, they are in the likely column, but they're kind of staying here for now. But the Electoral College estimate is 300 for Trump. Harris 238, but we'll see. So Nate Cohen is saying that Trump is very likely to take Georgia and North Carolina. To win, Harris will probably need to sweep Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. But Trump has an advantage in all three, they're saying. Okay. Okay, this is interesting coming from New York Times. That leaves me with a little bit more hope. Arizona leans Trump. Georgia very likely Trump. Michigan lean Trump. North Carolina very likely Trump. Pennsylvania lean Trump. Wisconsin lean Trump. But there's a lot of votes to be counted yet, and you know what happens when they count votes. Just saying. All right. Yes, that's right, Andrew Munchkin. I'm on the fence. I don't necessarily take Newsmax's word for it to call it that early, although they could be right. But I am on the fence on that. I want to make sure. This is encouraging, but I hope these numbers stay. We shall see. Like I said, I tend to be somewhat of a pessimist when these types of things. I just want to be extremely careful. I'm very cautiously optimistic here. 85% in, and Donald Trump is maintaining his lead in North Carolina. Georgia is maintaining his lead there, but it's narrowing slightly. 89% in there. And see, there's a lot of votes yet to tally here in Michigan. I'm not as confident about Michigan yet. Let's get into Michigan a little bit here. Let's go to Detroit, Rock City. Wayne County is one to watch. He's up, but it's only 1% of the votes being tallied there. And let's get in a little closer. And Oakland County here, 72% of the votes in. That's a good number there. That's encouraging that many has been tallied in Oakland County. Detroit is Wayne County, but that's again, that's very, very early on. Ann Arbor, a lot of votes count. Grand Rapids, that's the last place that he was in, and Kamala Harris is ahead. But that's 35% of the vote. If he can cut down some of her gain in Kent County, that would be good. All right. But one thing that is somewhat encouraging is this map here, shift from 2020. Look at all of these red arrows. That tells you something here, folks. All of these red arrows that shift. Some of these in New York as well, too. There's been a notable shift, so this is somewhat encouraging. Fox just called Maine statewide for Harris. Ann Arbor is very blue usually. Okay, thank you. Yes, and I can believe that. All right, and Nicholas voted in person wearing an anti-communist T-shirt today, which is legal here in AZ. All right, very good. All right. This is the direction. New Mexico is also seeing more red arrows as well. That's encouraging. So far, Virginia, 80%. Kamala Harris maintains a lead there. Donald Trump wins Idaho. No surprise. All right. No, none of these states have been called yet. None of these states, swing states, have been called yet. But according to the forecast of the outcome, it is now leaning more towards a likely column here. 89% chance. 301 to 237. So this is, I don't want to get my hopes up too much. There's been no more of the updates, but we'll see here. Crazy. But House Republicans, I don't know of any flip seats here. This is actually a better thing. In North Carolina, there was one flip seat for the Republicans. This one here, but it doesn't show it as a flip seat. And no flip seats mentioned here, so maybe there's not a flip seat in the House yet. Drudge is saying that the Democrats may take the House. So we'll see. All right. And I hope we can maintain the House, because if the Democrats get the House, you know what the first order of business will be, don't you? They will try to impeach Trump yet again. So I hope we can maintain the House. If Trump does win the presidency, which, I'm not willing to make that call yet, or get too excited about it yet. Trump, Silver Wolverine, Khaled called for Harris in 1 minute. Big shock, yes. No, yeah, that's right. No big shock there. Kamala Harris will take those 54 electoral votes. And Washington, too. Oregon is also going to be for Harris. That's going to be called very soon, I'm sure. Nevada, counting usually takes days, but new technology, they close at 10 p.m. Eastern time. But Nevada, nothing has come in on Nevada yet there. Arizona still shows Trump barely ahead. And by the way, let's take a look at the Senate results. Will Pencilneck take the Senate? Pencilneck will take the Senate too. Adam Schiff, which sucks, but that's no surprise too. All right. And New Mexico, no surprise there. Sadly, it doesn't look like Kari Lake is going to make it here too. We have almost 49% of the votes in there. And so there's that. Okay, let's see. What else do we have here? All right, we're getting close to, taking control of the Senate here tonight. If we can get this seat, 6% of the votes, it's really a slow trickle of votes coming in from Montana tonight. But if we can pick up this seat, we'll take a good lead in the Senate. See what happens here. But a lot of time left. There's still a lot that could happen tonight, folks. Do not get your hopes up too much. Even for this presidential side, which I really hope that he can take it, but I'm not as, I don't know. Let's take a look at the House or the Senate for Ohio too. 87% in. And Bernie Moreno is holding on. and he may take this seat and flip this too. We could get a comfortable margin in the Senate, and that would be nice. That would be very, very nice. Mike Rogers, with 27% of the vote, is still ahead here in Michigan. I don't know that that's going to hold or not. And surprisingly, Eric Hovde is now taking a slight lead in Wisconsin. This is surprising. This is surprising. Good news. Joe F., not much longer. I'm about to lose my voice. So I'm not going to be, I'm going I'm going on about an hour longer than I expected. I've been up here longer than three hours tonight. That's just on this live stream, plus well over an hour from the previous live stream. So we're not getting anything new on some of these states. So with that, I think I'm going to call it a night. You guys are amazing. Thank you for sticking it out with me tonight. I appreciate. I pretty much now have said I'm going to quit just after Jeff Gates says that Sal's no quitter. I've just proved you wrong, Jeff Gates. I'm quitting. We're not going to get a winner tonight, but let's pray that Trump can pull this out. Let's pray we can take the Senate and hold the House. I hope we can. Drudge Report says we're not going to keep the House, that the Dems will take the House. Let's hope that's not the case. Man, I tell you. All right, folks. Well, I appreciate you being with me tonight. Thank you so much. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video. If you've not, hope you'll check out the videos that I recorded earlier today. You guys are amazing. Have a wonderful evening. Keep your feet on the stars and keep praying for all of the Republican candidates here on the ground.